Let's get started.
Here we go. Now let's get it all in perspective. We did it like that, and now we do it like this. Do not attempt to adjust your dial. I'm transmitting live. Yo,
Let's get down to business.
now let's get it all in perspective. We did it like that, and now we do it like this.
All right.
For the underground world, every street and borough.
You may learn something.
You are now listening to the Joe Rogan Experience with Chico, Simon, Kamar, and your host, Matt Floyd.
Welcome to the Joe Rogan Experience. My name is Matt Floyd, joined as always by Kamar.
Welcome to the party.
And Simon.
Buenas noches.
Ooh, muy caliente. What we do here is very simple. The three of us have listened to every episode of the Joe Rogan Experience this week. We are going to rate each episode as well as the week on a scale of 1 to 5 Jamie Vernons. We're then going to talk about each guest, the talking points, give our opinions, this, that, and the next. But first, my shellacked friend over here is going to go over the new patrons. We don't have any, do we?
Oh, what's that?
Huh? What?
He's talking to you, Carla. Let's do this.
Pardon me, I joined the Patreon. No Patreons this week, but it doesn't matter. Thank you to all the Patreons, new and old. Like and subscribe, leave a comment.
Yeah,
Those
shout out to y'all.
notifications.
Okay, I know you're going to do this whole, we should save it for the post show. I think we should start with Sheldon Johnson, and then we'll do the normal show.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
We'll just take 5 minutes.
I agree.
I think it should.
Just get this out of the way right here, right now.
Yeah.
here right
800-pound elephant out of the room, yeah.
Okay.
You're mad at me, aren't you?
No.
He's disappointed.
No, I think that's...
Thank you to all the
if there's-
Patreons. Sign up
if
for the
there's
Patreon for the post show.
something interesting that happens in the Rogan universe, this is when we talk about it.
I like that. Okay.
I would have been turned on, though, had we said we've got to talk about Sheldon Johnson, and we're going to do it in the post show, which you can do if you sign up for the Patreon. But I'm ready to entertain it now.
It's a little pre-game Joe.
Yeah. Well, so if anyone hasn't heard, Sheldon Johnson, who was on with,
The Innocence Project guy.
yeah, what the hell's his name? Man, it's like I literally just woke up. Who cares? It doesn't matter. Yeah, the Innocence Project brought on Sheldon Johnson to, talk about his incarceration and how he's turned his life around. And then Friday, the NYPD found a severed head and 2 hands frozen in his freezer. My question, I have a few questions, obviously. Did they dress him up like Dexter, or was he in that outfit when they arrested him? Because pretty damning.
What's the Dexter outfit?
I believe that's
Yeah,
exhibit-
you didn't see the
exhibit A.
white jumpsuit that he was.
It's a hazmat
I
suit,
see
I
what
believe
you're
they call
saying.
it.
His clean room suit.
Yeah,
So, yeah, just for anyone keeping score.
dark passenger.
It was episode 2096, Josh Dubin and Sheldon Johnson.
Josh Dubin.
That's the guy.
And it came out on February 1st. So it really
Wow,
is
it was
not
really
that
like
long ago.
holy shit.
Dude, it's so crazy. I
And
mean,
that body could have been in
I was
his
just
fridge
saying, I was
while
like, he
was
might
on
have been
show.
in Austin wondering, like, man, if the power goes out in my building, someone gonna find that head in it. It's like,
Oh no!
And Josh
terrible.
Dubin's like, I looked in his eyes and I could
yeah,
tell
this
he's
guy's
an
a good
innocent
dude. Yeah,
Fuck.
that's what Simon and I were saying. Is like it's tough for Josh Dubin because obviously he has no way of knowing, and he's out there trying to do the right thing, but like.
No, listen. I think you're gonna run into a couple of cases
Yeah.
if you're trying to free so many people who have been wrongly convicted.
Well, he was rightly convicted.
Well,
That was the one interesting thing about Sheldon Johnson.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean. You can be rightly convicted on like some trumped up charge and
Yeah.
spend the rest of your life in prison.
And he sort of, I mean,
Well, they say that
he
he
did
was
24 years. So,
Yeah.
And now he's going to do the rest. I mean, it was almost like a Minority Report.
Yeah, the
They punished him
precogs.
before he
Yeah.
did it, but he still did it.
Did you get any impression at all when he was on?
No, how could you? What? Like any one of us is going to be like, I got a weird feeling this guy might have a few actual skeletons at home in his closet. Like,
if we look back at the notes from that episode, Sheldon Johnson,
It's just
Kamar's got one note at the bottom. Might be a murderer.
he did talk about how being tough in prison got you respect, and just that side of it. Even though he apparently helped people out because he was a coda, just like Moshe
Yeah.
Kasher.
Well, they said too that apparently he might have done time with this guy at Sing Sing.
He was a what? I'm sorry.
Coda. His parents were
person who lived with deaf people.
his parents were deaf. Yeah, like they interviewed his dad, and he was like, I didn't even hear him leave.
And he knew how to make prison hooch. So that's a red flag too.
He didn't hear the bandsaws running. In the fucking,
Yeah, exactly. Either way, I just thought we should bring that up right away.
yeah, no,
because
Joe's
it's
obviously
insane.
going to have to make some sort of like statement. The problem is it might be a month from now when an episode is finally up to date. you
I mean,
know?
I don't think he needs to make a statement. He's going to talk about it. He's
Oh no,
going to
no.
be like, it's
I
crazy.
think he has to make a statement.
And I wonder about a
So you think he's going to be outside in Austin at a small podium? Like,
No,
like, I just want to say to the
not
listeners.
quite like that, but maybe like one of his
Oh, like a little Instagram post where he's all yellow
rant.
and John
Yeah.
just looking
No, he'll come out of his
ice
cold
bath.
plunge, yeah, and he'll just
Rock
be
hard
like,
4-inch
Listen,
nipples."
I think we need to talk about that. I don't know. It's crazy. Like Kamar said, we're talking about like 14 days ago or something. What's the date today?
It's a month and 2 weeks. So yeah,
Whatever it
6
is.
weeks ago,
6
literally.
weeks?
Yeah.
No, it just happened. This is all fresh. Is there a universe though where another podcaster say had Sheldon Johnson on, and it was notorious that this happened, that Joe would talk about it
Sorry.
and joke about
What?
it, say it's funny.
What are you saying? I missed that whole first part.
We're wondering if Joe would address Sheldon Johnson. Are they gonna make jokes about it, or it's gonna be very serious?
I mean,
You have to make jokes about it.
I don't know.
This guy was across the table from me.
skeletons in your closet just kind of writes itself, right?
I mean, every time Josh Dubin's on from now on, you got to assume Joe's going to be like,
I mean, and we don't know the particulars yet.
Yeah, maybe he
often
was-
is a
maybe
good
he was
explanation
framed.
for a torso and a head in your freezer.
Like I know that they plant drugs on people. So what's a severed head and some hands? You know.
it's true. We might find out it was his deaf father.
Well, how does that make it better?
What do you mean?
Oh, who killed the people?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
He's just taking the rap for the old man.
Gotcha.
He already did 24 years.
That is a huge twist.
Yeah, you
He's like,
that?
Dad, you stay here. I'm going to put my hazmat suit
Yeah.
on and go take care of business.
This will seal the deal.
My deaf
Trust me.
dad was a monster.
Yeah. Oh, and then he writes a book in prison.
My
My deaf
Scarlet
dad was a
Letter.
monster. Yeah.
No, it would have a more clever title than that. It
Well, it would be
like
Insane. It would be like-
Hearing the Devil or
Oh, I like that. Wow, Simon, you should be fucking. I always said I wanted a job naming boats and horses, but you should be
I
out
wanted
there
a
like
job naming businesses
yeah, you'd be good at that.
with
yeah.
punny names.
Did we already go over whether we'd be deaf or blind?
yeah,
Yeah.
Did we?
yeah. I said take my sight.
You said take sight.
I said take sight.
Take hearing.
Go nuts.
That doesn't even make sense. Take sight.
Take
Are you
sight.
crazy?
No.
No, I've seen enough.
Yeah.
No, you haven't.
I need to
You have
listen.
hardly
I need
seen
to hear.
anything.
I need to hear.
You've hardly seen anything.
Listen, buenas noches. You've hardly seen anything.
I cannot live without music. You don't like music, so it's an easier choice for you. You're a color guy, an art guy.
The
I
blind.
say that to a lot of people now. You just don't like music.
Yeah.
Not just Simon. And I know you do like music, but I do it to people and they get so hurt.
Yeah.
But they also go, you're right. I
Yeah,
really,
I know.
don't. I couldn't tell you something that's rock. and
You're
roll.
a rap guy, so
Nope,
maybe you
but okay.
would be able to just feel like the bass, anyways, to get
Peter used to do that.
the song. You know.
Yeah. I remember Peter would always sit super close to the speaker and he loved like real bassy.
No, in Daredevil, all your other senses are heightened.
I love that you think.
Not
I love
quite
that you
like
think
Daredevil.
I'm gonna
Like
lose.
Daredevil.
I love that he thinks I'm gonna lose my sight and I'm gonna become a daredevil type fucking like.
Hey, Matt.
he's over there. Exactly.
You get to wear sunglasses inside after dark.
All right,
All right,
let's
yeah, let's go over the guest
let's
list
get
so we
to
can
the
do
show.
this.
Okay, quite the week we had very conservative lean on it. 2113, Christopher Rufo. Followed by 2114, Zack Snyder. Then we had 2115, Riley Gaines. And we ended off the week with 2116, long time coming, Kevin James.
Was this his first time ever on the podcast?
First time ever. We've talked many times why the King of Queens star hasn't been on because they're good friends. They all talked about it.
Yeah.
It's come to fruition.
Okey-doke.
Kevin James probably called up and he's like, "You're gonna have fucking Bobby Lee on, and I haven't been on yet."
No, I bet it. I bet
It's a joke. I'm
the
kidding.
door's always been open.
They
Of
must
course.
have seen each other somewhere
And
or
just
something.
the Kevin we got to know was the Kevin we got to know.
All right.
I give the week a fucking 1.5.
Oh yeah, we're supposed to rate the week.
Yeah,
This week fucking stank.
I give it a 1 too.
I'm gonna give it a
Wait for this queer number.
1.0025. Hit the button.
Oh my God, that's the worst number you've ever that's the worst number you've ever put out.
You can hit the button.
There was no agreement. I said 1.5. He said 1.
Oh, you said 1.5?
Yeah. He said 1 as well, which
Yeah,
I was like, well, no one's done.
I think 1.5 is probably more.
Yeah, come on. There was
close
like,
to-
when you have 4 guests, it's tough for the week to be a 1.
I thought you
I
guys
just- it
gave
didn't
it 1,
speak
so
to
I was
me.
just trying to be agreeable.
What's funny to me, Kamar, is I thought you, of all 3 of us, would have come in here and been like, pretty good week. I feel like all of my sentiments were echoed, and
I could have done with a little more Brittany Grimer or
oh my
whatever
God,
the hell her
she was the
name
worst. She might have been my least favorite guest ever.
But she can get it.
Who cares? I'd rather
this
War
is-
Machine than her.
Oh my
Like fuck,
holy shit.
bring Sheldon Johnson back on.
Jesus Christ.
There goes that YouTube money.
Oh fuck her. Fuck who gives a
Jesus
shit.
Christ.
I must be a misogynist myself because, like, I pretty much agree with what she's saying. Like, fighting the good fight, but I just don't want it from her. I don't want to hear it. Maybe it's also because she's 23.
Oh, she can get it.
Yeah, Kamar, that's
Okay,
not.
let's save
Okay,
it for
sorry.
her episode.
Well, let's start with this. No, fine.
No, we're starting with Zack Snyder.
Or whatever you want. Yeah.
We, through the democratic process, chose 2114 Zack Snyder.
The democratic process, of course, was me saying, who are we starting with? And then
And then you left, and then we decided that was the democratic
that's
process.
fine.
Zack Snyder. Yeah, listen, I was pleasantly surprised, or
Wasn't expecting it. Yeah.
it was good until it wasn't, but it was good at the beginning for the first hour and
I mean, it was only 2.
hour and
They
20
have been
minutes.
short lately, but all directors are interesting people.
Yeah, but I looked at his filmography.
Yeah.
Not great.
Nope.
But 2 banger movies, you know what I mean?
Which are?
Which are 300
Yeah, I'll agree
and
with that.
The Watchmen. The
I never
Watchmen
saw
is
The Watchmen.
amazing.
I never saw it.
Clunky, though. It's clunky. Like,
It's clunky.
yeah.
It's maybe it's just a little long.
Like he's the director's cut director.
Oh yeah, I want to talk about that.
So I mean, the problem is long is like, listen, especially in this day and age, you got to be making a fucking banger film for it to be long.
Like, yeah, it can't be hard. There's a lot of flashback in The Watchmen.
It's a cool. I think it's probably really true to the comic.
Yes, I cannot reference it. I never watched I watched The Watchmen halfway through.
But that's the
listening to
first
this.
anti-hero movie ever. And just let me finish my statement. And look how that genre has just exploded now. There are, The Boys. There are so many. I could name you 10 movies that came out in the past 5 years. He was well ahead of his time. Anyways, sorry. What?
all rooted in graphic novels,
Yeah.
which was all comic books were 14 tops, PG-13, and then you started to see these other books. They were $30 for a graphic
The
novel. or
first
something.
one I ever read was a Batman one where the Joker beats Robin to death with a crowbar in the first 4 pages or whatever. And then Batman goes I think that's the movie he wanted to make. The one he kept referencing for Batman.
Dark Knight Returns.
The Dark Knight Returns. I think that's
Oh,
what
he
that
still
is.
wants to do it apparently.
He really wanted to kill Batman. That was like, you could tell he's like, fuck.
Directors
wants to
are
kill Batman,
Yeah.
are like little simulators, little simulation creators. You create a world it's just scene by scene, but with AI you can fill in the blanks.
Did either of you watch the Watchmen series on HBO? It's really good, man. I liked it a lot. Did you watch it?
A lot more of Dr. Midnight's penis.
I mean, yeah, there's probably a lot of his name's not Dr. Midnight, it's Dr. Manhattan.
Manhattan. I couldn't remember it.
Kamar's writing his own. He's
Just-
writing his own
Just
graphic novel.
All the backstories in The Watchmen, it's fucking awesome. I can't believe you don't like that movie.
No, it's a good movie. It's just clunky.
How many times do you have to say it's clunky to you, Simon?
What's another
he has to say, he obviously got that
like
from
From some
somewhere.
review somewhere, yeah.
no, the Irishman.
Yeah.
That sort of
Clunky.
get to it. sort of isn't it? Is it? It's just me. I
Oh
suppose.
no, I don't like The Irishman. Remember, I was the one who hated it.
You've never seen The
guys
Watchmen?
liked it. I
Like when
even
you're getting a
tried.
bad hand job, you're like, come on, let's just.
I even tried watching it again.
The
The
Irishman?
yeah, and it was equally as
Clunky.
and went on like talk about a movie that they should have cut out a lot of scenes in. You know,
I mean, the thing is, it's just weird. Like Scorsese normally makes long films, and you don't care.
well, because they're usually amazing.
Yeah,
This one wasn't.
that's my
Well, there's
point.
just a lot to pack in. That's what
Well,
it is
it's
for
because
me.
they had to do the whole gangster, and then there was the Hoffa. So you had like these two like equally important storylines going on at the same time, and you really couldn't get your head around who like you're supposed to be rooting for.
Yeah.
which I found really hard too. To
The kick takes you out of it too, so you got to.
Oh, the kick is ridiculous.
You got to go out and have a cigarette after that. Get yourself back in the movie mind space. You know what I
oh
mean?
my god, I watched the stupidest movie. Nathan Ziplicki. Have you seen that? I assumed you would have watched
Nikki
it already.
Stenicki, Ricky Stenicki, Ricky Stenicki.
Ricky
It's amazing.
Stenicki.
It's amazing.
But there is
What is this,
one,
Candyman?
there's one part in it. No, it's this movie with all these comedians.
Yeah,
in
I get it. It's Ricky
like,
Stenicki.
It's
Ricky
totally
Stenicki.
over the top. The reason I bring it up is because it was filmed really weird, like with a different type of camera or something. Anyways,
What do you mean?
it doesn't look like a normal. You'll see it and you'll be like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah, but you think everything looks weird.
Yeah, I do.
Like you
but
can't watch things on Apple
no,
Plus.
now I can. I'm used to it.
Okay.
But this, even being
Yeah,
used to it,
so you don't love the cinematography, but the story is gold.
the story's so stupid. But just his thing that his living is singing in like whatever Vegas songs where he replaces the words to be about masturbating.
Any song, he remixes it.
It's so funny.
It's so good. It's so good. It's
No,
just
it's
wow. As far as a comedy, it's
Anyways,
doesn't hurt anyone's feelings. Now, have you guys seen Rebel Moon?
yes,
Because I thought that was a
haven't.
holy.
you haven't seen Rebel
Well,
Moon.
he came in here and said it was a steaming pile of
That's what I
dog
said,
shit.
yeah.
So I was
Well,
immediately.
now we know why it's a steaming
Well,
pile
now
of dog
I
shit.
wonder. I hope that I don't know what it'll change because as far as I still see, this is just someone tracing over Star Wars.
The story was cool. Like I had no problem with the story. It was just the cheese that was involved in it, and you're like, this just seems so whitewashed, or so like nerfed. And then you find out. You see, I'm really pissed at this guy. You can't, if you're gonna make a movie where you are then gonna release like another movie that was better than the movie you released.
It's the
you
dumbest thing I've ever
have
heard.
to release them at the same time and give the people the option to watch them. So he's like, yeah, you can't really watch one and then watch the other. Well, you fucked me already, buddy.
Well, what's strange is April 19th, part 2 of Rebel Moon's coming out.
Sorry, repeat.
April 19th, part
Yeah.
2.
Part
comes out.
2 of Rebel Moon. Rebel Moon was them assembling and showing that people have feelings.
Well, I
and
guess
stakes.
that's when the director's cut comes out as well.
Well, he said the director's cut's coming out at the end of the summer.
Kumar, either way, I at least appreciate like Dune. I don't like there's no point in this day and age in releasing a movie 2-3 years after. Like a sequel should just come out 4 months later.
yeah,
And unless
agreed.
unless it's one of those movies where like it was a
6
quiet.
months.
What I'm saying is a movie like Dune where you know there's going to be a second one. You know what I mean? Lord of the Rings. These are perfect examples where you know.
Sequels.
No, but not just a sequel because like Heat 2 is coming out.
No, and they're filming it all at the same time.
This is what I'm
in a
saying.
block. It's not like they're working on it while you're waiting.
But Heat 2 is going to pick up at the end of that one.
No.
And keep going. So that's where it changes.
No, Heat 2 actually is a prequel, I believe. It's in
And so
Chicago
it ends
15
in the
years.
beginning of.
How can Heat 2
1?
be a prequel? Does that happen?
Yeah.
Where the sequel is a prequel?
Yeah.
No, they just call that a prequel.
Okay, well, either way, the book is called Heat 2.
Like, what would you call Roadhouse that's coming out next
That's
week
a
on Amazon
that's
Prime?
a remake,
yeah, that's true. That's a remake.
Not
yeah.
a sequel, not a.
not a sequel or a prequel.
Yeah.
But so Rebel Moon, I really want to see that R-rated version.
I do too.
I'm going to have to watch this other second version.
But I think the way he did it is fucking bogus. It's
Let me ask you a question,
Such
though.
a money making thing at detriment to the art.
if you know you're doing this for Netflix and you don't have to worry about like a rating system or anything, why even bought? Like, just make your heavy metal.
He wanted to get more eyes on it. He wanted to have more parents say, "Oh, watch this" to like small children. It's
Does
crazy.
he not know how the world works?
It's fucking crazy, Matt.
Dumbest shit ever. Listen, if you want to make Star Wars, make Star Wars. If you want to make heavy metal, make heavy metal. You can't make it in between.
Well, you can't do both.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
If you try to make it in between, it's gonna fail.
Well, it's not even an in between. It's like I assume we're going to be watching the same scenes again, but with other scenes.
With cocks in them.
There'll be
There's
sex
just a fucking
and more
swinging
gore.
dick in every.
That's what I'm imagining. And maybe it's more coarse language and smoking.
So I mean, you know what it is? It's like so when you watched that movie, you saw like this frame, and the director's cut will just be like this. And there'll be two people smoking in the corner. There'll be a guy fucking a chick like up against a wall, that sort of thing.
Just NPCs though.
Yeah. It had nothing to do with the story.
Just make it
yeah,
grittier.
just grittier. Yeah, you got it.
It's all just green screen.
Yeah,
Did you hear what French Montana did?
a French bandana.
French Montana is a Moroccan rapper, so I sort of respect it. But he dropped a song and then dropped like 6 other versions of it, like slower, faster, to try to get more streams.
Yeah.
Nice. That's smart.
Is it?
By the way,
No.
What if he released like even worse than the one I put?
Like I'm going to release this podcast and then we're going to release it at 1.5 speed and 2 speed.
Yeah. I mean, I do find, Kamar, that like, I guess there was a few remixes that were better, but there was always that. Like, someone would release a single, then there'd be 2 remixes that were not as good.
No, this is the exact same song.
That's so weird.
Just slower or faster.
That's so weird. That's so weird. That doesn't make any
That's
sense.
hilarious.
No, everyone's calling him out on it. It's just
Yeah.
like more is.
Oh, speaking of music and being called out, that Kanye album fucking stinks.
Not one song.
No, there's 2. Listen, there's 2 beats that go hard. Mm-hmm. But
But Kanye's not a good rapper.
he's dude.
That's
First,
okay.
listen, I was telling Simon, I've never heard anyone rap with less substance. And again, in his defense, he's a billionaire and all he does is fuck models to kill the pain he feels inside. So all he raps about is fucking models. Like I dare you to find me something other than that in there.
I've gone too far.
Also, I was telling Simon, some of his sample selections, not samples as in like he sampled this sound, but like I don't know, it's weird. It's so weird to see a very established producer using like little movie snippets that I would have used when I was 19 making beats. It's so weird.
So you do like that? You hate
No,
his
I
rapping.
don't.
You don't like that? You think it's
It's so
Pedestrian.
it seems cheesy. I don't know what it is to me, but it seems like, I don't know.
No, I think it's the root.
No, I think you drank the Kool-Aid like everyone else. That's all it is. This guy can do no wrong. He could shit in tinfoil and sell it as fucking earrings.
This is a Trump situation.
Yeah.
It's
The
like
shoes are so hot.
People have told
But
you,
you love Freddie Gibbs' verse.
hate
Couldn't find
Kanye.
it. Listen to the whole album. Couldn't find it.
So Kamar's loving Kanye. That's just this
Yeah.
is
Did you
this is
listen
classic
to
Kamar.
Schoolboy Q's new album?
I heard one of the tracks off.
That's
It.
supposed to be the best.
What is it? Come on, let's get back to.
Well, I did that. Take it easy. I told him I wanted to shit on him for a second for telling me I had to listen to that Kanye.
Well, I'm overjoyed you listened to it.
Come on, I'll at least give you this. I am a fan of hip hop, and when a new big album drops, I should be listening to it front to back. But I just know I'm like, I fucking hate this guy. So you're right.
But
Thanks for keeping me young.
You said 2 songs.
Yeah, Vultures goes pretty hard, and the one after it, I think.
Did you guys know Zack Snyder's from Green Bay, Wisconsin?
I mean, who cares?
Well,
But he lives in Canada. Is that it?
He was up in Canada filming, I believe, with his
Oh,
family.
okay, that was it. I thought he.
Justice League it was. But no, you hear about the Green Bay Packers, but you never hear someone from Green Bay. Okay, right on.
That's his note.
That's
you
a decent
never
note.
hear about someone from Green Bay.
Or, I'm a huge movie director, and like I said, a simulator.
Will you stop with that shit?
I mean, we don't even know where most movie directors are from. I'm sure they're from all over the country. The same way actors are from all over the country. They don't all come from LA. They just end up in LA.
Dennis Villeneuve, Montreal.
I was thinking when he was talking about the raising of the Spartan kids, that could be a prequel. They
Just
said
a bunch of
the
kids
were
getting
just in
fucked in the
hills.
ass.
The problem is the kid fucking. It all sounds like a great premise until you throw in the kid fucking.
But that's how you make a good soldier.
Well, I think you could probably it could just be like they
No,
have to do a
Simon,
lot
it's
of
written in
errands,
stone.
a lot of errands for the higher up.
You know what I love is that Simon tries to recreate the Spartans without the gay sex, and it just doesn't. It's not quite clicking.
I
And
have
he
no-
refuses to
It's the
admit.
secret
I have
sauce.
no problem. I have no problem with the gay sex. If that's
the kid fucking
if that's
gay
what,
sex.
yeah, that's where we got to draw the line.
But again, you're making soldiers.
You're making soldiers.
Yeah, like the hardest soldiers you've ever met.
And if you
I
were
mean, I
and-
feel like you're
and-
double entendre.
No,
in
oh
this
yeah.
thing.
Well, I'm just saying these soldiers are so hard, and
so hard.
yeah, and like, dude, you could be standing at the front lines, and you're like, bro, you're gay, and they're like, I don't give a fuck what you say about me.
yeah, I don't.
My asshole is so gaping.
I don't think they're at the front lines. Like,
Oh no, they're chirping. It's like
shit-talking
football. Oh
about
no,
it.
fuck
But
your
imagine,
mama, your father, you're gay.
You're a scribe or some sort of reconnaissance, and you're just crawling on your stomach to this hill, and you see sort of a din of a glow, and you hear all this grunting and stuff, and you're like, oh, they must be training, and you just imagine guys
Yeah, instead they're
all their drill, and they're just having at her. I don't think you'd be like, oh, we got this in the bag. I think that's a really bad sign when your opponent's fucking each other.
yeah, I
no.
mean,
According to all the right wing pundits right now, Russia and China are laughing at us because all of our goddamn soldiers are trans.
No,
So
but-
that's what the American
no,
soldiers
but
need to start doing is
No.
going over to Afghanistan and butt fucking each other right in the desert.
If China and Russia studies this, that could be a problem. But you have to make everyone have gay sex. It's not allow it; it's make them do it. That's
That's what the U.S. should do is just
That's where
pepper
it
China and
changes.
Russia with pamphlets about the Spartans. Be like, they used to fuck boys.
but before the child sex, they were just kids who would kill slaves for fun, and that could be a whole
Yeah,
prequel of
yeah.
like the Warriors, which is.
Yeah, no, it sounds awesome right up until.
But
I just love the
and you're looking forward to it.
I love the thought too that they're all actually gay. It's like, ooh, let's go kill that slave, filthy slave. Let's go get him.
So gay such that they had to
gay
shave their
such.
their wife's head and make her look
Yeah,
like a
that
man.
was insane.
And I said, did they know about hanging up a sheet in a doorway and wearing a wig like our friend in Toronto?
Tricked another Spartan into fucking my ass this week.
That was crazy.
But obviously, you guys have both seen 300.
yes.
It's the JRE movie game. The time has come again. For Matt and Simon to rack their brains to guess the budget in the box office. We all know they won't guess the year, and the Patreons are the real winners here at the JRE movie game. Come on, take it away, baby.
It's the movie game where Matt and Simon go head to head to find out what year a movie came out, how much it cost to make, and how much it made at the box office. This week we're obviously doing 300, directed by Zack Snyder, written by Zack Snyder, based on 300 by Frank Miller, who was he talked about Frank Miller. I wish he had talked about more personally. His love for Frank Miller, what's Frank Miller up to? Starring Gerard Butler, Lena Headey, David Wenham, Dominic West. You know who Dominic West is?
Yeah, McNulty.
Exactly.
You know who Lena Headey is?
Nope.
Game of Thrones.
Oh, yes.
Shame.
Oh, yes.
Shame. Yeah, she can get it. I know you think that.
She got it.
Oh no, I don't like.
She
her
has
at
it.
all.
She's
She
so
has it.
hot.
She
Get the
has
fuck out
it.
of here.
Are you kidding me,
Cersei?
Just because she had sex with her brother? Like, chill
No,
out,
no,
man.
no. I don't think she's hot.
Oh, you're a weirdo.
Prude.
You know what's weird about this movie is I cannot, for the life of me, like I can't even put this within a 5-year.
Because the special effects were so good.
No, it's just that I don't. This is like in that haze of films for me.
I'm
Guess
ready.
so. Okay, give me a sec here.
I don't know if I'm close, but I'm ready.
I'm ready to. I said 08.
I said 04.
2007. Ooh, so close, yet not there. 2007. And it was shot in 60 days.
I mean, most movies are shot
Okay.
When Joe was super surprised by
Oh,
that.
really?
Yeah, most movies are shot in around like 60 to 90 days.
You ready there, Matty?
Yeah. I said it cost $40 million to make and it made 220.
I said 27 and 165.
Budget $60 million,
Whoa.
which means they had to spend $1 million a day.
Whoa.
I'd like
I
to do that.
figured because they did everything on like green screens.
Yeah, but
or
the special
whatever.
effects cost you a fucking ton of money.
I'd like to see that ratio of days filming to budget. Box office, 456 million.
Oh, wow. This was a fucking breakaway.
You know what's funny is as soon as I said out loud 220, like when I wrote it, I felt good about it. As soon as I said it out loud, I was like, I'm way fucked.
What a return on investment, eh?
That sort of gave him some carte blanche, I'm sure.
What a return on investment. Well, The Watchmen was first, correct? And then
No, 300 I believe was first. Go see when Watchmen came out, Kumar. But I'm almost certain it was
Maybe
300
we should do
first.
the movie again. Oh, you haven't seen it.
No.
You have no urge. You don't like superhero movies, do you?
I don't know.
Well, this is an anti-hero movie. It's not even a superhero movie.
Still imaginary people with powers.
Easy.
What, am I wrong?
Nope. You're very right, Kumar. It's imaginary people with imaginary powers.
You've seen all the Avengers movies?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I have.
Have you seen the Justice League, Kamar?
Sorry, Kumar. I've seen all the Avengers movies. I haven't seen every
Okay.
Marvel Universe movie.
Kamar, have you seen the Justice League?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The director's cut.
Yeah.
And I said it was too long, but I said, was it horrible? It wasn't. And when we find out why he stopped
Yeah, it's
filming
such
that
a
stuff,
sad story.
and
Yeah.
you could see why the news, they wouldn't come out and say that. But you have all the speculation, like he's gone crazy or something. It was, that was a real honest moment. But no, first he did Dawn of the Dead and a Rod Stewart music video.
Well, he said no. He said he did a lot of
He
commercial
did
work
music
before.
videos
Yeah,
and
yeah.
commercials, which is still directing. It's just
Well,
a
I mean,
different
Spike
scale.
Jones. Don't forget, like
Like
if you're not a Beastie Boys fan, then you're like, whoa, Spike Jones did Beastie Boys video. You know what I mean? Like it's
But he did 300, and then 3 years later he did Watchmen.
so it's 300 first. Like he also said he did a bunch of golf commercials. I found that. I was like, that's interesting.
Yeah, those fucking sounded awesome.
Yeah.
Those commercials are great, and they should. It doesn't translate as much for hockey. There's certain sports like soccer they can do it. These guys are so good where they just sort of showcase.
Oh, I think they could do
their
it for
amazing
hockey.
talents.
The flipping on the stick and then the.
I know, but
But Kamar, I feel like most of them were lies anyway.
like
all
all
those.
they scrape up the floor or whatever.
Well,
Yes,
like
yes.
I remember there was one back in the day where I think it was either Neymar, Ronaldo, or Messi. No, it was Ronaldinho. He like puts on a new pair of Nike cleats. You see him do it on the sideline, and then he walks up to a ball and he starts juggling the ball along the box, and he juggles it like 6 times, and he rifles it at the net, and it hits the crossbar and goes right back to him, and he keeps juggling it, and walking along the box the whole time, and he hits the bar like 6 times, and the ball comes back to him every time.
It's not real.
No, and it was like those NFL commercials. You remember where like there was one where like the dude punched through the drywall and caught the ball.
But Mickelson really did that. Like that's insane.
Yeah, no, Mickelson.
There
did
are
that, yeah.
those moments. I mean, obviously the ones with I think it was Jordan and Bird were constantly doing
Yeah,
crazy
yeah.
trick
Were
shots.
those
Yeah.
Off
McDonald's
the freeway.
commercials?
Yeah, I'm sure.
They were,
off
right?
the freeway and the thing.
Yeah, those are great commercials.
But still, the example they used was the F1 drivers. They do
The
agility, not agility.
The speed
reflex
and
tests,
agility reflex,
which you
yeah.
can see they're just significantly better than other people. So are these little things because that's what they need to do. You know, the Olympics are coming up, right?
this summer,
This summer, Gay Perry.
nice.
summer.
The skateboarding is. I think skateboarding might take over the Olympics
No. How so?
because
There's only 3 events.
But it's going to be like that's the only reason young people are going to tune in to the Olympics, and maybe they'll watch some other sports. Like for me, I'd be going in for the 100-meter dash.
Okay.
100-meter dash, Olympic soccer's almost like World Cup soccer.
Yeah. You know why
The men's downhill, it's a one race, not a heat, and
Skateboarding
14
men's
guys don't
downhill.
finish. No, I'm saying the event: skateboarding, 100-meter dash, men's soccer.
He's asking you what the
soccer's
men's
good.
downhill is in the Summer Olympics.
It's guys on bikes.
This is a new event.
No, it's like instead of a tour race, usually that's what biking is.
Yeah.
It's in multiple days. This is a 2-hour race, just a sprint down a mountain, then up a mountain, then down a mountain. But it's a crazy street course. It will go through neighborhoods of Paris and stuff, like from the countryside. It's crazy.
Kamar, I never liked events where there were judges.
No
Not a
judges
big-
did this one.
No, the skateboarding.
Skateboarding, there's judges. Yeah.
That's my point. Is I never like the 100-meter dash is great because you just see who's the fastest. There's no one can juke that.
It is, but then there's false starts and just weird stuff happens.
Okay, that's all fine and good, but I'm just saying like skateboarding is I don't know.
But everyone knows.
Yeah.
If you watch, everyone knows that was the best run, even if
Yeah.
they got screwed by a judge. And I was watching some Saudi Arabian stuff, and they're crazy. Doing these tricks, not on a skate video where maybe it was 4 tries, but just the lines they put together, all these people watching them. It's really, I think it's going to be very exciting.
What's crazy now, dude, is like they're doing tricks where like you would have assumed that back in the day you would be like someone spent a month straight at a spot trying this trick, and they're doing it like first try. Like the fucking dude, I was watching Nija at SLS Paris the other day, and like, holy fuck, man, he landed tricks that in the 90s you would have been like a legend, like you would have been the top of skateboarding, and he's landing them first try.
I feel like it's going to come up like beach volleyball has.
Skateboarding.
No, beach volleyball was introduced in Olympics.
Yeah.
I don't know, 20 years ago, and now it's like one of the premier things, isn't it? I don't know.
Yeah,
about
but
that.
I mean,
if you
I
took-
like watching it, but I don't know if it's like
If you took the ratings for men's beach volleyball versus women's beach volleyball, I bet they are drastically different.
That's interesting because that's going to get us to the next guest we're going to review. Getting away from Olympics. Well, no, I mean, they did talk about training and stuff, and it's so crazy that bodybuilders are on the edge of death. Like this superficial presentation of the complete strongest man, but he's actually like, need water, can't move.
Yeah, the whole thing is ridiculous.
So
Fake
it's not,
tanned as
that is
fuck.
not healthy.
well,
It's
because we're
just-
obviously not supposed to be that big.
But as Zach said, these guys are, for human sake, pushing us to see what you can do. But it's completely impractical and
I mean,
useless.
you don't need to do that. You know what I mean?
Now, enough people
This
have done
isn't
it.
like going to the moon.
Enough people have done it. Yeah. What do you think? We're going to end the world, or it'll be some natural disaster?
Well, we won't end the world. We would end humanity, but the world would go on.
We could blow up the world. You never know.
Yeah, okay. And given enough time, I assume it will be fine.
We could send a fucking nuke into the middle of the world, of the core of the world of Earth, just for fun, and blow it all to smithereens.
Okay.
There
yeah.
could be no planet left.
But we don't know for sure that, okay. You don't know for sure that boring a nuke into the middle of the planet would blow it to smithereens.
No,
No way.
I
No
don't-
way. There's a core there.
I don't know that. I'm
Don't
just,
wink at me, asshole.
I'm
Don't
just-
ever wink at me.
I'm just saying it's not impossible to believe that we destroy more than humanity.
It's tough to assume that we would destroy this massive.
Okay, we could
You have
make
no
it-
idea how big a
We
chunk
could
of rock
make it
this
a
is.
dead planet then. How about that? With that life is unable to grow again like Mars.
Have you ever gone over a dead lake? It's just completely see-through. You can see all the rocks at the bottom. There's no murk. It seems like the coolest thing, but it's also like it feels like it's acid or something. I've seen a couple. You've never seen that?
I don't think so.
But I think that's what we do the planet, just a dead planet. But so you think if nuclear Armageddon happened, some people would survive, and
No, I'm saying like
Find
if
a
we
way.
nuke, let's say we nuke the planet and we kill all human beings. There's a chance that some organisms survive, and that given enough time, life might come back. Simon's big on fucking ancient civilizations. You'd think this guy of all people would be like, we've probably done this 6 times already.
I do believe that's the case. I was just saying, sorry, I was just pointing out that we could destroy the planet. There's nothing saying that will never happen. Just like there's nothing saying a giant comet doesn't hit us and smash us into a billion pieces.
but so yeah, the comet or a super volcano, something like that,
This is all a simulation anyway. So all these comets and it's all bullshit.
and then 30,000 years ago, 30 go by, and we evolved to get back to where we were, or maybe longer.
Yeah, 30,000 years. Yes, the world ends 30,000 years from now. There's another Ronnie Coleman fake tanning.
Guys doing a podcast
and clenching his ass.
fucking themselves.
The Spartans still fuck young boys to become better fucking. Yeah, it all happens the same.
Do you have a radio with like batteries, a cassette? Do you have any of those things?
I'm sorry. So I understand the radio with batteries and like emergency times. What's the cassette going to do?
He doesn't mean a cassette. He means maybe like a CD player.
I don't think
with batteries.
They were just talking about like, you know.
You know what I love? I have a cassette, How to Survive the Apocalypse. Press play. It's like side A, How to Survive the Apocalypse.
Refer to tape 1.
If all the power goes out, like how much of your music collection, everything you've acquired is on the cloud?
No, I have like, I mean, there's a shitload of CDs right there.
So you have CDs and you have a CD player that can play with
Can
batteries?
run off batteries.
Well, just, there's no more power. I mean,
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to think.
that's what they're talking about. A record player, but that still needs,
You still need power.
yeah.
I don't even think there's battery operated record players unless they're like Fisher Price, like little.
You need power. You need batteries.
Because the record is cool. He was talking about how the grooves and it's hard to
it's
believe
so
that
weird.
that worked.
It's equally
crazy.
when he
It's
was
crazy.
when he
That
was
the
like
easiest way to do it.
when he said he was like the MP3 is much more complex. I was like, I don't know. I feel like they're both equally wild to me. Like I couldn't explain either.
No, I
The
just
CD is less, right? Wild.
It's just
Lasers
ones and
read
zeros.
numbers,
Just-
but the grooves.
No, but what's really crazy is
or
that
tapes with the tape. Like it's so fucking odd.
Yeah, we didn't even get to learn about that before it disappeared.
I mean, it is crazy that ones and zeros can equal you listening to vibrations. It's crazy to me. All of it.
It all doesn't make any sense. The world, fucking us being made up of molecules being held together by fucking energy.
But he suggested that less and less of it is in a fungible
Yeah.
mode,
Yeah.
right?
You know what I just realized?
Hard copies?
Mark, you know what I just realized? Simon used to sell them, I think. You can buy these little things. It looks like a little VW bus. It's probably this big, and you twist the top.
They're battery powered.
Are they battery powered? And you just put it on top of a record.
And it has a
so the
speaker
record
built in.
the record can just sit flat and motionless on a table, and you put this little VW bug on the record, and it drives
No
around in a
way.
circle. Yeah, and it has a
No
speaker on it. I swear to God.
Yeah, the records are so fun. I mean, tapes are weird. Everything is weird.
How much that thing cost?
The
30, 50 bucks, something like that.
the way phone lines work. Think about that. You pick up a telephone.
Yeah.
Like, the old phone lines.
Yeah.
You pick up a telephone.
There's a dial tone.
You put in a number, and then you talk to somebody, sending your voice through a wire billions of miles away.
Billions.
What, Matt? Whatever.
Well, no, sometimes it was far away.
Sometimes you do it overseas, Matt. So it's got to get underneath the ocean. Like the whole thing is fucking bonkers.
But that's the past.
And then they're
You're talking
like,
about the olden
well,
days.
that works because we're here and they're there and the time difference. So by the time the signal gets over there, and then that brings me to the time zones.
Yeah.
So I started thinking about time zones the other day, and I look it up why there are time zones, and it's because the first thing they say is the Earth is moving super slowly, so that in different places the sun is rising in different spots, but the Earth is moving super fast. It's spinning at like 1,000,000 miles an hour. So pick a lane, You can't have it both ways.
Well, the Earth isn't spinning at 1,000,000 miles an hour. It's hurling through space at millions of miles an
We're
hour.
also spinning very, very quickly. 250,000 miles per hour or something.
We can't be spinning very
Okay,
quickly.
I'm going to check how fast we spin. And
Simon, if I sat you on a turntable in the middle of the fucking table and I spun you super fast, you're not just going to continue. Whatever. Why am I arguing with this guy?
and then the time. So the other thing was, so the sun,
What's that have to do with your time zones?
this is what I'm talking about. So the sun rises in different parts of the world around the globe.
Are you explaining sunrises to us right now?
No, I'm explaining.
Get to the fucking
I'm explaining
point. I'm
time
being you
zones.
right now.
I'm explaining time zones, which would make sense for like us in Australia. You know what I mean? I can kind of like wrap my head
But we're
around
not in
that.
Australia.
But we're in Canada. Like, you really think there's such a big difference between where the sun is rising in the sky
Are you a dipshit?
here and
He said he'd do this for the post.
Manitoba?
Yeah, there is actually. So I'm just curious. You think that someone in Labrador, when they wake up and the sun's rising, you think in Vancouver there's no real difference? It's weird that you would use Canada as the example.
Just because we're so big across?
Yeah.
That,
Yeah, that is the thing
the
I'm
Earth
thinking.
spins at about 1,000 miles per hour.
Yeah, that's not as fast as you said millions of miles per hour.
That's still pretty fucking fast.
Yeah, but that gets us one rotation every 24 hours. The Earth is huge.
It's faster than you can drive.
And I think the core is moving even faster.
Probably.
Stop wait. Every time he says the core, he does this fucking Spartan wink at me.
I thought Joe had the best idea is that Batman has a bunch of money. Now we know that technology exists. Actually genetically modify himself. Like you could do some things and make it seem like it's totally
Maybe he
realistic and
wanted
possible.
to stay pure.
Yeah, another movie. It doesn't have to happen.
With a super Batman.
A sequel or whatever but it'll be actually kind of realistic because exposing stuff like the CRISPR or whatever stem cells.
Well, then he should fight Superman because that's the only time it's going to be fair. I never understood those comics where Batman fights Superman. It's like ridiculous.
It's not fair fight.
Superman is just like the strongest being in the universe.
That was
Yeah,
the
and there's
highlight.
rich kids fighting him.
That was the highlight of the podcast for me was when he said the ratings. People were like, we just don't want them fighting.
Yeah.
You're just supposed to say what is allowed
Yeah.
so you can give a rating. Well, the actual whole concept we're not about. And that's the problem with oversight.
I do agree with him that structurally, Ben Affleck is the best Batman. Looks the best in the most like Batman should look.
Val Kilmer.
Oh, yeah. I was gonna
No. Val Kilmer was terrible. And he wasn't like an archetype.
The movie was terrible, but
no,
he was
but his
all right.
I don't know. Ben Affleck has that like
Yeah,
jawline,
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
When you look at old like most Batman comics, he's always got this like chiseled square jawline.
He does.
I still think there's someone better than Ben Affleck, but I know
don't
you're
know.
just
I-
talking about the people that have played
The
him.
people that have
Yeah,
played
I
him.
understand
I'm
what you're
sure
saying,
there's
yeah.
somebody better than Ben Affleck.
Tom Hardy, Timothy Olyphant.
You would have never thought that Robert Pattinson would be a Batman when
No,
you're watching Twilight,
he's
right? You're
not
like,
a good
this guy's
Batman.
going to go. No, he's.
But he has that chiseled jawline you're talking
Yeah, he
about.
does.
Does he? I
Yeah,
find he
he's
has
got
more
that
of
square,
like
total
a
square jawline, yeah.
Whoa, you
He
guys
actually-
know a lot about Robert Pattinson, eh?
That's the long.
Don't look at me.
That was a really long Batman too. Speaking of clunky movies,
Yeah, and it started amazing. I thought, oh my god, this is going to be the best Batman ever with the guys in the masks and their
riddles.
No, they're just like rushing the city. There were riddles.
There's no way you could think. Listen, after The Dark Knight, how do you ever think? Sorry, The Dark Knight Rises. That would be the one, right? With Heath Ledger. How would you ever? You can't top that.
Oh, that was a pretty good Batman.
Yeah, it was.
Do you remember how that movie started?
How did it start? I don't remember.
You don't really?
No.
The bank robbery.
Yeah.
Oh, the bank robbery.
Dude.
Yeah, that was good.
Not to mention that was the trailer. That was the extended trailer for the film.
They showed you what they were going to do and then did it to you.
Like
That's
the
a good
extended trailer was the whole bank robbery scene. I remember seeing that in theaters and being like, "What the fuck did I just watch?" I was
What-
like, "That looks fucking incredible."
one. What does Batman have to do with this though?
Did you like the Bane one?
Yeah, it was good. It wasn't as good as the Heath Ledger one.
They're all good.
How about this? This is very 2024. So Batman, Bruce Wayne, he finds out that his father has been poisoning the waterways of Gotham for decades, creating all these supervillains. So he's got to clean up the streets of his father's mess.
That's interesting.
You like that? A little new trope there, yeah?
I wonder if that's ever been a
Philanthropy.
storyline that they've ran with.
Yeah. Because his parents were obviously pieces of shit.
And he's a womanizing. He's a womanizing boozer. Oh, I think
That's
Bruce
even
Wayne
better.
has a kid.
You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight? That was a father whose son died of cancer from them poisoning the well.
He's got some illegitimate children out there.
Bruce Wayne, oh my God, he's got so many kids.
Most interesting about Zack Snyder also is that he draws every scene in a movie, which totally makes sense. It's like the steak to the sizzle to the steak. if you just imagine this, but if you say this is going to happen like this, and that's the beginning of becoming a simulator.
That would be a cool book. Seeing like movies penned
Behind the
out,
scenes
like,
or whatever.
yeah.
Well, that used to be a huge thing with DVDs. Did we talk about this already?
What?
The DVD, I mean, they could do it with streaming, but the DVD would come with all these extras. Interview with the director or the cast, outtakes, like almost a director's cut of it. But they don't do that with
You know why they stopped doing that? Because no one fucking watched those.
I don't know.
And nobody
No, I
was going to
know.
pay extra for it.
No, they weren't
either,
extra.
you
It was
know?
just part of the DVD. They threw it in.
No, but there were also like ones that had director's cut or whatever. You know what I mean?
And they started the 90s because in the 80s, as I've said before, the making of would just be guys doing cocaine.
Thing was, Kamar, it was all like they were trying to add extra value, which
Yes.
they didn't need to do. But the thing was, is like no one wanted to watch the 3 trailers for the movie you just watched. The only good thing you were going to get in extras was a deleted scene, maybe, or
scenes?
bloopers. Yeah,
Bloopers.
You
deleted
definitely
scenes.
don't want to hear shit about what the director had to say.
like once in a blue moon, someone did something cool on a DVD. Like Superbad, when he had Michael Cera. I don't know if you know this, but the director had Michael Cera dance for an hour and a half straight in place. And so the screen of the, like, you know, the menu, you know how a DVD menu usually loops after like 10 seconds? This one's an hour and a half. It doesn't, it's
It's just him.
just him dancing.
So there's exception to every.
You know who did
Statement.
an awesome director's cut was the show Lost. Because they do this vignette at the end, this like where what's the guy's name there who lived on the island originally?
Ben.
So Ben is now working for the big fat guy who's the boss of the
Early.
island, and he's going around tying up loose ends. So people who work for
No, but those were, see, you don't realize they release those on the website every summer between seasons. Like little extra. I know what you're talking
well,
about.
this was the last one where they're
Okay.
tying up more loose ends than
Okay.
they tied up in the show. That's what you want from extra.
I will say the other good one I was thinking of, Kamar, that hit me right away. In Tropic Thunder, there's a line where Robert Downey Jr.'s character is like, I don't break character until after the DVD. Robert Downey Jr. does the DVD extras in character. Like they,
So clearly, we have got numerous examples that the extras is a cool thing.
that's the only.
But no one watched it, like you said.
No. That's
They
the
would
only,
have done it.
I watched that one. That's the only one I
That's
watched.
3 examples
Yeah.
from
Thousands of
7,000
movies.
3
movies.
minutes. Like if we
Anyways.
started mining.
Piece of shit.
I could sit here another 3 hours and not come up with another one
Yeah,
for you.
I just named
But
the-
they explain the polar bears, Matt,
Yeah,
in the
in those little vignettes. Yeah,
Anyway,
In the extras.
in the extras.
I give this a 2.5. I know you're done.
Yeah, we got to be done.
Just one more note.
No, you're done. I'm fucking telling you.
This better be a great note.
He said something about you can't get a movie done without a song and dance. Mm-hmm. Which
He meant
had to
sucking
wear a
Harvey
dress or
Weinstein's
something
dick,
like that.
yeah.
I don't know what he meant, but I'm not smart enough to understand what someone says Ayn Rand as like a verb or something. Like, I'm not Ayn Rand, but I'm this. I don't know what that means.
You don't know who
She's an
Ayn Rand
author?
is?
I know, but so what? I've never read her stuff. Like I don't know what you're saying when you say that.
I would have thought you read Atlas Shrugged
when
right
you
away.
pull that on me, you're saying I know more than you, but I don't know what you know that I don't know. And
I love that he's like, if you drop any knowledge on me that I'm aware of, that's a flex, and I'm unhappy with that flex. Get
I
on my
only
level.
want to talk about things that I
Get
know
on my
about.
fucking level, okay?
there it is, man. How are we gonna have discourse?
All right, rate it.
I told you 2.5.
Rate it.
There's no way you're saying he
Rate
talked
it.
about. No, it's done.
Rate it.
There's a guy who had a biplane that flew around and just landed and charged people $3 for flights, and just went on to the next town, and that was his.
It's a pretty good shtick.
Yeah.
I'll give it a 2.75.
I'll give it 2.
2.5 from me. All right, let's move on to this fucking swimmer. So Kamar can talk about how much of an erection he had listening to this.
2115 Riley Gaines.
I don't even know what she looks like. I'll have to check this out.
This episode stunk.
Do you think it stunk or was just pounding one point into the pavement?
Yeah.
Did you find her hateful, transphobic?
No, I mean, I will say, like, she, here's the weird thing to me was when she was like, yeah, I wanted to be a dentist, and for her to go on this crusade, like, if you were, I don't know, like, if she wanted to be in the WNBA, like, she wanted to be a pro swimmer, and Leah Thompson ended her dream of being a pro swimmer, I could see her being as pissed as she is, but, like, what I got from her was I didn't get some trophies, and I'm super bummed about it. Like, and again, I'll back it up by saying, like, she didn't lose her, what's it called when they give you free tuition?
Scholarship.
Thank you. She didn't lose a scholarship, and I know that her point is women in the future will lose scholarships to men, and I get that. I understand that. I'm not, but in her case, it just, and this is what I was, my original point is she could fight the good fight without seeming as butthurt. But in her defense, she's a 23-year-old woman.
She's just still learning the world. Do you think it bothered you that she was a Christian, a devout Christian?
Well, I didn't like all the Bible thumping.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you didn't
Well,
like that.
listen, just pick a lane. You know what I mean? She was coming across like totally coherent, blah, blah, blah. And then she's like, but the rapture's coming.
Yeah.
Like, dude, come on.
Yeah.
You're not doing yourself any favors.
So that was a problem.
I agree. If I was the dad of a young lady who was into athletics and they had worked their whole career and then get to this meet and this happens, I could see how that would seem totally unfair. Yep. So I don't know how that can't be looked at, like rationally. Yep. Even if you say we want trans to have rights and this and that, and we have to work this out, but until we do, that was not fair. That doesn't seem so far-fetched to me.
I mean, listen. I think we've kind of lost our footing in the world, and I think sports is a good place to get it back. Fuck it. I'm actually all for it. I think we should just dominate. I'm dead
get rid
serious.
of women's sports altogether.
Yeah. Do you want to know? I
mean, men could do that if
Yeah.
they decided now that they wanted to remove
Yeah.
women's sports from existence.
Yeah.
They could do that.
Yeah. Like, I know this is basically a Shell's joke, but, like, do you know what would make the WNBA a lot better? A couple men.
Well, yeah, we haven't seen that yet, have
Just
we?
a couple of dudes finishing up those alley-oops.
That's it, dude. You put, like, it doesn't have to be a Wembanyama. Like, throw Schroeder on there. Just get a couple of 6'4".
Do you think if there was a woman who transitioned to be a man and was an amazing basketball player and started dominating the NBA?
Wouldn't happen. It can't happen.
But if it did happen, would people be upset or just be like, yeah, whatever?
No
man.
one would be upset. No one would give a
He's
shit.
not game.
Why is it impossible for that to happen?
But just all the
You've
physical stuff has
watched the
gone over.
WNBA, correct?
No, okay. So you take that girl who just broke all the
college record.
No, and she hit more threes than anybody in the NBA has ever hit. So just take
Yeah,
that
Caitlin,
girl.
whatever. Yeah.
She starts like doing a transition, taking androgynous steroids or whatever the fuck, gets really big, gets some like more male attributes. She could be a
I don't think she makes it in the NBA. I think she makes it to maybe the G League.
No one's upset. I think
No,
that's
no
my
one's
point.
pissed, yeah.
No one's pissed. I don't think so. But when a guy does it over to women's sports, people are upset.
Well, because it's the opposite. It's forget the trans argument for a second. The argument that people should be having is, are men better at whatever sport than women? If the answer is yes, then you have your answer,
The answer is yes.
Yes, otherwise we would have one league.
Yeah.
It would just be the World Basketball Association and everybody would play in it if you were able to.
Look, I'm sure you remember John McEnroe ate all that shit a few years ago because he was like, Serena Williams is the best female tennis player ever. And they were like, whoa, pal. Why didn't you just say the best tennis player ever? And he was like, well, because she wouldn't even be the 400th best male tennis player ever.
And then it happened and it was proven.
Yeah,
She agreed.
yeah, and she got
Serena
smoked
agreed.
in straight fucking sets by some dude whose name you'll never fucking hear again because he was never any good at Sorry, he was great at tennis on like he would smoke any one of us, but he's not on that level.
And didn't the same thing happen the first time when Billie Jean King played?
No, I think she might have won, but they think it was rigged. They think he bet a ton of money on her and
But sports is the only place where this is an actual issue.
yeah, no one cares if you show up to your accounting job as
or if you're
Susan.
a
It doesn't
computer
make a fucking
program or
difference.
anything, And these sports, the reason why it was allowed to happen is because she said you'll lose your scholarship if you complain about this. So this is an internal thing or whatever around all the schools. So that's how it was allowed to sort of get through. The argument is that trans athletes are such a small percentage, it doesn't really affect the big scheme of things.
Well, it obviously is affecting the big scheme of things. It was, she did win
That's what I said, yeah.
in 3 sets.
But it was bullshit. Kamar, you can't use that argument. You can't be like, there's so few of them that it doesn't matter.
Well, no,
Because they will always...
gotcha, surprise. I watched an interview with Leah Thomas, and that was, the person said, what do you say to people said that? And that's what they said. There's so little of us. I don't think it's a big deal. I'm happy. I just want to be happy. I just want to live my truth.
I love when...
It's the other side, right?
I love too when she was like, one time we raced and like we tied. He didn't even beat me. And I was like, yeah, his big dick was fucking holding him down in the water, lady. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's because we hear Joe talk about like he's just beat this thing to death.
Yes.
So to have her on now and like them just have a big agree-a-thon, it just seems so unnecessary.
But
And like you're a perfect example. Like you don't give a shit one way or the other. You don't have kids. You just wanted to fuck this girl.
But we've discussed about the give an inch, take a mile, agreeing that 2 + 2 = 5. Like, those are not good things. Or are we just too old that we've aged out? I don't know.
Well, Kamar, here's the interesting thing. When we grew up, people older than us were going fucking crazy about how like you guys are just going to let gay people, you're just going to let gay people be, you're just going to let gay people have sex and be happy and marry each other and raise families, gay people. You're going to let gay people do that? Ugh. And we were all like, there's nothing wrong with gay people, man.
No, but there were some truths that, even you could be against gay and I don't know.
I remember
don't know if it's
Crocodile
the same.
Dundee, and there was a trans person in it, and it wasn't weird.
There
Remember,
was?
he's in a bar, and he's cracking on her, and he goes, hey, that girl has a dick. And he goes, what? And he grabs it. And
Well, they brought up a good point too, like Thai lady boys, like that.
It's just been around. I just don't know if...
My point, Simon, is this: we are now the older generation, and the older generation always has a tough time adapting to what the kids want. Like when we grew up, they told you 1 in 6 people was gay, right? That was like that was the number when they were like still calling people fag and suppressing. So like we don't know. We actually still don't know what the true number of gay people walking around is.
I promise you, though, again, when I lived in Australia, and this is 20-some years ago, Sydney was a gay city. Like, they ran the city.
The gays, the gay mafia.
The gays. Like, the busy street was all gay. All the cool bars were gay. They had the biggest gay parade in the world. And I thought it was so much more forward or progressive than even Canada at the time. Even though we always had there's a gay
Pride is huge in Toronto.
parades here, but it was way bigger. And I thought, they had won already. They'd won equality.
They've taken the country.
Because I thought Australia was actually backwards. But I mean, in a big city, I'm sure if you go to rural Australia, they're probably still ignorant or whatever.
I just think that denying certain truths can lead, like Kamar's saying, it's like with Biden. It's like everybody's just willing to admit that this guy's not senile at this point. You
That
know what
as
I
a
mean?
thing
You
is
see
the
his
problem.
wife rushing onto the stage to lead him off. Like, he's not right.
Simon,
we saw this with Reagan.
I'm not disagreeing with you. All I'm saying is there is a possibility that we are just old and that we can't take change very well. That's a possibility. I'm not saying that I agree that, like, again, I agree with this chick. I don't think men should be competing against women. I think we created women's leagues specifically. Look, they're a protected class. So if we're going to keep protected classes, then we have to protect that class. And we're not doing that right now. So if we want to get rid of protected classes, then fine, let's do that. But women are a protected class. And you can't just let some white dude named fucking John.
I thought everything was going fine until she just switched into immigration. And you can see her as like going to become sort of like a Candace Owens type.
Yeah.
Which she will, darling.
Of course, yes.
And she's all right to do that. If someone called you a sperm producer, would you be offended?
No.
None of the analogies ever
I know when
work
she-
with what they say.
Yeah.
Well, no, I love Riley Gaines, and I think
you wanna
there's
fuck
only,
her. It's
there's only
great.
two genders, but
No, but you're right. Women do that often where they're like, how would men feel if we were like, we don't fucking care. We literally, you can do or say whatever you want over there. We just want to be left alone. That's what women don't. There's the huge disconnect there.
I saw this. I swear to God, someone did it as a skit or something. But last night I was doing the show, and this woman came and said, "Kamar," and I was like, "Hello," and she's like, "You don't recognize me?" And she goes on to say, "I'm so and so's wife. I met you a million times. Like, I don't. Oh, I recognize you there." And I was saying, that's a good thing, right? To not recognize your best friend, not a best friend, anyone's significant other.
Oh, I would have looked her dead in the eyes and been like, turn around. Oh, yeah, I remember you.
Well, that's what I should have done, but she got offended, and then I felt like defending myself. I'm like, what are we doing
was
here?
it?
You remember, Cameron, big Cameron. He played soccer. He was a big rugby player guy, big beard.
Who played soccer with the boys?
That's what she's saying. Soccer from there. I was like, I can't remember. And I said, you're always standing behind him. I've never seen you by yourself, and you look so hot. I thought she was ugly. I'm just trying to say all these things. I don't know what that had to do with.
But yeah, men will never.
yeah.
Yeah. Men aren't like, wait, you don't remember me? I'm like, I don't care. Don't give a shit.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. If you say you don't remember me, I take it as a weird compliment because you don't have a preconceived notion about me. But so the slippery slope. Joe hit it apart again. If the technology comes out, we could just switch. Then that's fine, right?
Yeah. Also, I don't think New York is just giving every immigrant $10,000. And she was like, my husband is British and he still doesn't have a green card. None of those people have green cards.
Well, no, okay.
Well, no, but this is important.
She
Hold
was
on.
an advocate there for women in sports, and any other topic outside there was
She's just a
unnecessary.
23-year-old kid, like you said. It's like listening to Greta Van
No.
Thunberg. You know?
Hold on. There's a 53-year-old man sitting across from her. Are we forgetting that? And that he could be like, well, hold on. Like, they're not getting green cards the second. Like, she made it seem like if you just walk across the Mexican border, there's someone sitting there ready to stamp your green card, and that you're then walking onto an assembly line at fucking Amazon, and you're an American citizen making money. That's not fucking...
Next thing you know, her husband's taking a trip to Mexico just so he can walk up to get his green card punched.
Did you see Jon Stewart's thing on the border crisis?
Maybe I did not.
No.
The last one I saw, he interviewed a Palestinian and a Jewish writers. Has it been since that one?
I don't know. I think it was
Anyways,
last Monday.
It's a problem. I don't care what anyone says. She doesn't have to talk about it, though. She's there for
Swimming
and women in sports. But if technology could just convert CRISPR, because you ever try to have a conversation about what they have?
What they have? What are you talking about?
Like I could talk to about a girl's pussy and the lips and the clit and vulva, and some are longer, some are smaller. But if it was a transition person, what they have, their hole or their vagina.
Oh, enough.
Exactly.
enough.
You can't even talk about it.
But when do you discuss, like, when do you have in-length discussions about
And
a
who
vagina?
are you having
We were
these
talking pussy
discussions
just
with?
before we started this thing.
This fucking guy.
I don't know. That didn't come out right.
How am I supposed to describe a hole I've never seen before at length? What am I supposed
No,
to
but
do?
how
What
am I
does it
supposed-
look like?
how
How
am I-
does it smell? Is it a vagina?
How am I supposed to dirty talk her? I want to touch your stint. Like,
I love that.
Oh,
That's
stop.
exactly, Simon. Exactly.
Stop.
Do you think I wanted to say that?
Yes, I
Yeah.
do. I think you had
Yeah.
it written
No.
down
I
Bit
had to
bitty.
show
in
you-
your fucking notes.
bit
No
bitty.
one wants to hear that.
It's really bitty.
I disagree. Remember Chappelle's bit where he was like, if Caitlyn Jenner wants to do Playboy, better be spreading them lips.
Google AI exposed the left leanings of the tech companies. It came out a couple weeks ago.
Oh yeah, and it
George
won't make
Washington, it's a
Nazis.
black person, it's a woman or something.
Is that true? Because that sounds insane.
I really think it is true.
It asks you ask it to make a Nazi,
I could just
and
see
they
enough,
make it into an Asian woman
enough
Nazi.
do-gooders and programmers. We'll just do this, and then everyone will realize, you know what? There is no. It's all a social construct. But
Look,
that's never going to happen.
I could be totally wrong, and that might be exactly what it is. But this sounds
Why? That's the beauty
like-
of inclusion.
Yeah, you hater.
If you want black people and Asians and everyone to be included, well, then guess what? You guys were Nazis too. It's not just us.
No. But I mean, so it's not historically correct at all, this program. Maybe Joe has it wrong.
Is any
is all I'm
history-
saying.
No way.
Like maybe he heard something and he's
No
just been
way.
Is
perpetuating
any history
this.
correct if it's based on a lie, based on a lie, based on a lie, based on a lie?
Well, we know that the Nazis were not Asian women. That's
Do
one
we?
thing. Yes.
Were you
yes,
there?
No.
Do we know they had any dinosaurs on the staff?
I don't know if they
Building
did or not.
subways
They could
downstairs?
they could have had velociraptors. I don't know.
That's why they lost the war.
We have accurate truths that we believe.
Imagine you fought wars with dinosaurs. That would be incredible.
We spent all of our war chest on the
the
dinosaur
Tyrannosaurus
subway.
Rex.
And beware the tyranny of the oppressed.
Okay, yeah. Don't quote real people when talking about this 23-year-old female swimmer. She didn't fucking
They quoted, that's Ramsey. Ramsey.
yeah. Leah Thomas, Michael Scott,
Like the
Michael
chef,
Jordan.
Gordon Ramsay?
But beware the tyranny of the oppressed.
Is it Gordon Ramsay or is it like Ramses the Great, the Egyptian guy?
Vivek Ramswani.
Oh, God damn it.
Are you guys for child sex dolls for pedophiles?
No.
Could you imagine being for that?
Whoa, hold on a sec. If
They were talking
those-
about a congressperson
If
pushing
those
for it.
sex dolls stop those pedophiles from
They
touching
won't.
kids,
They won't.
but if they did, then you'd be for those sex dolls?
If you had definitive, if you could say, look, we've done enough medical studies that prove definitively that this will, even if it decreased, like even if you said we will see a 15% decrease, I would say sure.
Okay.
My concern, Simon, is
That it'll make it worse.
yeah, it goes the other way where this guy's just at home fucking his kitty doll all day and is like, this isn't enough. Like, listen, if you're really horny, okay, let's say you're 20-year-old Simon and you're super horny and you have a fuck doll at home. Like, is there any amount of fucking that doll you could do to make you go out into the world and not want to fuck a real woman?
No, but I guess if it was like had a little VR attached to it, then maybe that would be enough.
You want someone nagging you to do the dishes after you fuck it? Is that the thing?
No, I mean like if it was, you're in a program watching some fucking hot model and then you fuck
You don't know how porn works, do you?
I don't know how porn works.
No.
What do you mean?
Well, they have VR porn, so you could just watch VR porn. Okay, fine. So you have your Apple $4,000 headset on, okay?
Yeah.
You're fucking your fuck doll,
Yeah.
watching VR porn.
Yeah, that
Okay,
doll is what you're watching.
You've
yeah.
done that 5 times a day for 6 weeks. Okay, you go out into the world. You see a beautiful woman on the subway. You don't take the subway, whatever. You're driving down the street.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
see a beautiful.
I get
do you
your
still want to
point.
fuck that girl,
Yeah.
or are you like, you know what? I don't need that because I
No,
have this fucking doll at home.
Yeah. What the children fuck dolls should have like a Pavlovian. So every time you fuck it, it gives you a shock, and then you don't want to fuck the. You know what I mean? Then every time you see a kid on the bus, you just remember the shock, and
Yeah, I don't know. We live in a world where if you buy a cigarette, it's got a warning on the filter now, and you're talking about making a child fuck.
And they're not a criminal till they do something wrong, right?
the pedophiles.
The pedophile.
Well, is it criminal to have those thoughts? I mean, yeah.
No, they have to possess child pornography. They have to hurt a sexually assaulted child. If they just walk around like
No,
they're-
they don't. If you're in possession of child porn, you can go to jail.
Yes, I
So
said that.
should go to jail.
I said that if they have child porn, if they possess child porn, they have videos, magazines, whatever.
Well, most people, if they have those thoughts, are probably at least getting child porn, if not acting on those things.
But the
you know?
child doll's all right.
No.
No.
Now that we've talked about it, I think the child doll is problematic.
Like I said, listen, I don't know where they would get this data, how they would collect it. Like,
Well, no, you know exactly how they would, but
well, no, you got to. So what? You put out a pamphlet saying, "Hey, any pedophiles, come on down. We're doing some tests. We got some kid fuck dolls here for you." Like,
yeah.
So red flags for me are things like minor attracted person, gender affirming care, Planned Parenthood.
yes, we know you lean right, Kamar. We understand
but
that there's hot button words.
Just
for
call them what they are. It's weird wording to to smooth something out. It's that
Planned Parenthood really is. That's like that's a
it's
tough
just-
one for an abortion clinic.
It's tricky.
You know what I mean?
It's tricky
Well, you're
wording.
planning not to be in parenthood.
No, it's literal, but it's like the nicest way we can describe what this is. That's just the way I look at it, and it's a red flag for me. I don't know what it means. It just makes me go, I don't know about that. She
Like
wrote a book.
Nazis are just Jew dislikers now.
Well,
The weird thing to me is that you
haven't
don't-
pulled that off.
The weird thing is that you don't have kids. Like I don't have a dog in this fight, so that's why you see so much like I don't give a shit out of me is because I don't have kids, so this will never affect me. I'm also not going to compete in a sport that's going to be competitive where like most women could probably beat me at a sport, so I don't give a shit. That's why with you it's interesting.
There is something with you that you will have to push back on. I don't care about anything, but I do care about this. And
Listen, if they ask
I
me
don't
to-
know what that is for you.
If they asked me to vote tomorrow, if there's a referendum saying, do you think biological men should be able to compete against women? I would vote no. I would show up and I would vote no. That's the only thing I can do. Other than that, like, you know, us bitching and moaning about it here. Listen, Joe has the biggest podcast in the world. He's been bitching and moaning about this for years. It hasn't done shit.
Yeah,
The pendulum always swings. It will swing back. This will, if you think that 20 years from now, women's sports is just going to be loaded with less than spectacular men playing like I just don't think it's going to happen.
It would just easily have to be a left issue that I am just as a staunch supporter of as too, that I advocate for that. But she definitely, like we said, this only affects sports.
Yeah.
The trans issue is just sports, and that's all Joe's ever said. I don't care what happens out there except when it comes to
No,
sports.
he's talked about the bathrooms too.
The bathrooms. Yeah, well, I'm sure if you had a daughter, you'd have
He does have a daughter.
or if we had daughters, we have a different or more passionate view. She wrote a book. Get it if you want to hear more about this, but I mean, I guess this is just she's religious. This is her calling.
One. This episode stunk.
It's a 1. I agree with you, Riley. Though you get a 5.
Simon, say
You
one.
gave
Let's
her a
move on.
5?
No,
he gave her
.25. That's what.
She's not a hateful transphobic person. Like
No, I just found this episode super.
she's probably traditional.
The point I didn't get to finish making at the beginning was that she didn't come off as a hateful transphobe, but because she was extra butthurt about it, it came off as like you want the person saying this to be as level-headed as possible, right? You want the spokesperson to be like to come off as the least amount of hateful as possible, and she really like was personally butthurt, which I get. She felt robbed, but
As you say, she's only 23 years old. I'd be interested to revisit Riley wherever she is 27 years from now and just see where she's landed. Like if she's a KKK grandmaster or
And we just know
she's a dude.
because
she'll be Marjorie Taylor Greene,
It's
guaranteed.
she's super religious.
yeah.
And her religion, like gays, they look down on this sect of people as well, this group of people as well.
Yep.
So how much of this is swimming oriented and how much of this is like you'd like somebody a little more neutral, I guess is what I'm saying, but who knows? Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, no, it's like I get what you're saying. It's like when Matt Walsh is like, "What is a woman?" and then he's like staunchly like, "Gay people shouldn't
and then
exist."
you're like, okay, so hold on. Why did you make this movie? Are you making it because you think the whole world's going crazy, or are you making it because
you
you're
really
a
don't like
righteous
gay people.
Catholic?
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
You got to watch the movie.
Okay, fuck you.
All right, we're gonna pay a bill. We're gonna take a break, and we will be right back. We're back.
That's great. The pillow with the blanket
Yeah,
attached.
you like that?
Well,
Yeah.
my dog loves going under blankets.
Oh, you got to buy one.
Yeah.
They're on Amazon. They're not expensive
I
at
think
all.
I'll do that.
Yeah. We're back. Thank you so much. I don't know. I don't even think there's a fucking ad, but whatever. If there is, thank you to whoever sponsored us.
And thank you to the Patreon.
Yeah, you guys are the real fucking winners. Come on, name und a number, yeah?
2113, Christopher Rufo. Continuing just on the topic we were on, Rufo is a writer, filmmaker, activist, and senior fellow at the Manhattan Institute.
I don't know what that is or why you said it that
But no,
way.
we were just talking about
Dr.
things that are
Manhattan.
named
Yeah,
whatever
you can just
they
name
are.
something prestigious. Like we should have done that with our company name. We should have named it, Coalition for America or something. We really should have, because then we could have got, dude. That's all you got to do.
Joe Rogan's Coalition for White People Everywhere. Straight white people everywhere.
No Jews.
So
it's a work in progress.
He's definitely conservative. They started talking about how Portland is not working out the drug thing, which is disappointing. We're really hoping that they would just blast off. It'll be interesting to see when they pass a law where we are now, and it didn't work out.
You can't just. I think the difference is like if you're gonna say, and I'm fine with it. If you're gonna say we're gonna decriminalize drugs, you also then have to say you can't just be doing them in the streets all the time. Mm-hmm. Right? Like I think the three of us would agree that you should be able, as an adult, you should be able to buy and consume whatever fucking drug you want, whether it kills you or not. We don't care. A little different in our country because of the free healthcare thing, but whatever. What you can't do is just be on the street and a junkie.
So marijuana is legal in Canada.
Yeah.
You can smoke anywhere you can smoke a cigarette. So you can be walking down the street smoking. There are a couple of
Can't be in parks or yeah.
So should the same be for another legal drug? If heroin is legal, then you think that in that case they have to be somewhere.
Yeah.
Where you can't.
It's like alcohol.
Well, it depends on what the law is, right?
You can't buy alcohol anywhere in a city.
Yeah,
Like I would even
there you go.
Simon, I would even say that like having a shitload of drunk people just like in one area of the city also is a detriment to society.
I mean, I agree to that.
So I'm not singling out.
But what are you going to do? Because you got to let them out of the bars at some point, you know?
No, I get it. I'm just saying that's usually like that's the fucking time where shit pops off. Like, listen, I would say that alcohol probably causes more crime than any other drug at all.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
I mean, yay and nay. Yes, a lot of people do a lot of dumb shit on alcohol, but nobody's like out there robbing other people for their alcohol money, I guess, as much as
People are drunk and robbing people.
Sure. No, I just meant like if you're a heroin addict.
I get what you're saying. No one is stealing. Yes, no one is like robbing a liquor store to feed their liquor addiction. I get it.
But maybe they are. Who even knows, right? Like if you're addicted to a lot of liquor a day, you have to come up with that cash.
But that's on the bomb level. The drunk driving is huge. Domestic abuse is huge.
Yeah.
Well, that would be the same with heroin. That would be like you shouldn't be driving when you're on heroin. You know what I mean?
No, but you're usually too like
alcohol is way more socially accepted. So its numbers are gonna be way across the board in all
for sure.
things.
But we're talking about making these other drugs as socially accepted. What's gonna happen in 20 years? You know?
This is the thing: so we live in a world where there's a lot of functioning alcoholics. As in, they still go to their job, they still raise their kids, whatever. It's not often, outside of like the Carl Harts, most heroin junkies live on the street to begin with, correct? Mm-hmm. So we already live in this weird space where we're making something legal knowing that the people who are going to consume it, by and large, probably aren't like tax-paying, upstanding citizens, right?
I mean, who knows once you make it legal? I don't know what happens at that point.
Well, first of all, the key is like if we make it legal, less people die.
Yeah, I think just across. Listen, when you're suffering from a pandemic or an epidemic,
Which we are, overdoses
spiked. I just don't know if you have a choice at this point. You know what I mean? You either have to figure out a way to stop every single person from using drugs, or you have to figure out a safe way to make that happen.
And keep in mind, I'm not saying we do what Vancouver does, where the government subsidizes cocaine and heroin and gives it out for free. No. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I am saying, though, is like, I don't know. We spend money locking people up for this stuff. Well, not anymore, we don't, but we used to. Look, you can't have people, you can't just have a large swath of the population doing heroin in the streets. It's unsafe. It's unsanitary.
Yeah, I don't know what the answer is because like weed, I mean, obviously should be legal. That makes perfect sense to me.
Of course.
But
there's no argument to be had.
I don't know. Mushrooms should be legal. The downsides of these things.
If you can talk about it at work, that's my joke.
You can talk about it at work, then it should be legal.
Simon, this is the thing. Like, you know, we know that heroin is available in pill form and that it's obviously like it's habit forming. But we don't know that they can't make a non-habit forming.
Oh, I'm sure they could.
And that's all I'm saying is if you could make, like, there's nothing saying that you couldn't take a pill of heroin Friday when you get home from work and just fucking zone out for 4 hours.
It's insane with everything they know, just in science.
Yeah.
That they can't extract this one addictive part of that pill. You know what I mean? That's so odd.
Even then, like, no, you make a good point. Like, it's crazy that I can't take a pill that replicates the high I get from smoking a joint.
Well, you can. It's a weed pill.
No,
Valium.
no.
You've tried them all.
No, what I'm saying, Simon, is like if I eat weed, it's nowhere near the same. It's not the
Right,
same.
yeah.
I want the high I get from smoking a joint. I want that replicated perfectly in pill form. But they don't have that.
Well, maybe there will be now that they're
Hopefully,
able
yeah.
to
Well,
do
now-
all
yeah,
this
you're right, yeah.
work on it, you know? And money is there to be made.
That's
in,
true,
like,
yeah.
That's another cool charade as well.
What's
That
that?
all these drugs are naturally occurring.
Go on.
Well, and therefore in abundance. But we have companies that patent the
Well, what do you mean naturally occurring?
Like aspirin in the wild?
DMT in the grass, everything.
No, not everything. Like heroin is synthetically, like,
Well, no, opiates come.
yeah, from the poppy. I get it, but you have to do something, like acid. Okay, you have to make acid.
That's one you make from scratch.
Now, but keep in mind, all that stuff exists on Earth. If that's what you're saying.
No, but most of them are just chemicals. I don't
Yeah.
think there's a lot of like natural substances in acid, are there? Well, I guess they're all natural.
If we were all one, we'd
Yeah, that's what
share
I'm saying.
all everything. We'd have, South American medicines, Eastern European medicines, Chinese medicines.
Well, I mean, listen, I've done, you know me, I've done a huge flip flop on chiropractic because I just saw. No, I mean, look, they.
Did you see a
obviously,
YouTube video?
No, I just think that I fell right into the trap I rail against all the time, which is it probably does work. And they just made
And
up
some
this
industry that was going to
story-
be hurt by it
made up a
yeah.
story about a guy figuring it out at
Oh
a
my
seance and saying he could do all these cures. He probably did exist and he probably was crazy, but that doesn't mean that all of chiropractic doesn't work. You know what he didn't make it up. I'm sure he got it from some other Eastern medicine and he just Americanized it, you know? If he even existed, who fucking knows at this point?
And are you considering going to see a chiropractor?
No, because I still find it I would for like a micro adjustment. I find those ones, you know,
Baby
you
steps,
watch
baby
on
steps. When the guy
TV.
gets on his head with his
Fuck
foot,
that, man.
cranks it, the guy goes, oh!
And then they're
I feel so
adding in
good.
these soundtracks of people just having giant cracks.
cracks, yeah.
It's like we've talked about this before, but I knew I was getting troped when I saw the dog chiropractor.
Yeah.
And there's no way he's cracking those dogs.
Oh, for
spines.
sure. But there's no way we don't know what he's doing. If it's good or bad.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's doing anything, frankly.
So they got into the trope about talk about how socialism never works anywhere. And Joe goes on a crazy rant about rabies as an analogy. It
Yeah.
gets so far down the road talking about rabies that he forgot. He was saying it just never works. Because he was saying it's like
What does that have to do with rabies?
exactly.
No, but what was the
It's like
analogy he was
thinking
trying to
you'll
make?
get rabies and you won't die.
Because if you get rabies, you die.
Except there's one woman who did that. It was just, the analogy, I love Joe. I love him so much.
But it's so funny though, because you'll also hear people say communism doesn't and has never worked. Right? What about
well,
China?
That's the same sort of thing. Well, no, it's working splendidly over there.
That's what I'm saying. It seems
not
like
according to our standards.
Or what we think freedoms are.
That's right. Not
I understand, but what I like
It is working right in front of our faces.
well. What is
some
what
way,
does
somehow.
working mean?
Well, we have friends who think Chinese people are having a great time.
Yeah.
when we grew up, communism was like, we'll all end up eating from the streets. We're going to be eating rats. And what I'm saying is that China, it doesn't look, I mean, I'm sure someone could pull up a video.
That's how they portray it, and that's how they portray Russia. But we know because of Tucker Carlson and his supermarket.
Well, no one's ever interviewed Chi.
He wants to. Tucker.
Of course he does.
Did you listen to that
Lex interview.
Lex interview?
Of course I did. I still think it's so interesting thinking of Tucker sitting there and the translator saying the question. Like, I think it was, I don't know if they're edited or something, but what a weird conversation that is.
It's a crazy way to do an interview.
Mr. Carlson said you
translator.
look lovely today, sir.
And he's just got to
Yeah.
look like,
Yeah.
I think the whole thing's interesting, and
So don't you think it's a little unfair that you're going in and attacking Ukraine, and he thinks that attacking Ukraine
Yeah.
was the best thing.
He agrees with you, sir. Yeah.
is there anything that you think cannot be discussed? Because that was sort of this guy's point, is that he's conservative views are marginalized, and even moderate conservative views seem like bad ideas. But in general, we all agree because it's somewhere on the middle. As we said, the extremes are the wrong side. How academia influences society. You just take it for granted all these people are going to universities, and the mindset of everyone in the faculty is a culture, and what an influence that does actually have on people. We think someone, even though they're 21, 23 years old, going to university and will be distinguished and be able to take everything with a grain of salt, rather than almost be brainwashed.
Well, because I don't know, me personally, I look at these university kids and it's like, oh, well, they're just kids going to school, but they come out of school and they go into the workforce. Yeah, and that's the part you forget about,
Exactly. You take it for granted, the influence.
It just ends at university, but no, that's after that, that's where they become.
Yeah, but it's a weird. What we're saying is weird because it was always that way, but we never had any power. Like when you got out of university, you might have felt a certain way, but you went into the job force and they were like, we don't give a fuck what you think. Yep. Keep doing your job. Whereas now, for some reason, these 23-year-olds come out of university, they have a menial job position, and for some reason, people listen to what they're saying.
Well, because some of them don't come out of university with menial job positions. Some of them come out of
I know, making $140,000
corporation,
well, sure,
with their uncle or whatever it is. And they are in the same mindset, because that's really push the levers.
I don't think you push levers, but whatever.
Gavin Newsom, they I guess on real time there we figure out. It was said that Gavin Newsom was exempting his friend Panera bread from a tax on fast foods, raising the minimum wage, but that's not true. Jamie, you got to the bottom of that.
Joe still didn't believe it though.
You guys are ready to defend the drag queens reading books to kids?
No, I don't understand that at all.
It's okay if you guys all think that's what you want to do it, but it doesn't make sense.
I mean, I'll put it to you this way: it seems like the least egregious of all these, like.
But then, is that an inch? I mean, I understand the thing is to normalize something. These are people too.
If you want to have trans people come in and talk to classrooms about like what they've gone through, sure. But just drag queens reading stories, is that what you're talking about?
Well, this is what they had.
I mean, let me ask you a question. If you get someone to dress up as a princess for your daughter's birthday, is there really a difference?
I don't think so.
Like a girl to dress up as a princess? Yeah. No.
Keep in mind, hold on.
What do you mean? There's a huge difference.
Stop. Just hear me out for 1 second, okay? I'm not a really good drag queen.
Okay.
Do you think a 4-year-old knows that's a man?
I think it depends on the drag queen.
Dylan Mulvaney.
No, but this is what I'm saying. I get what you're like. I understand there's bad drag queens where it's like 5 o'clock shadow, voice like this, like Adam's apple. Then there's other drag queens where like you'd be like, I mean, again, we know because we're adults and we've done this. We know it's a drag queen.
Maybe the drag queen is just the wrong terminology to be using.
Like my question is this: if there's a bunch of 5-year-olds sitting in a classroom and they're like, Princess Leia is going to come in and read you guys a story, and it's a drag queen that comes in, and the drag queen doesn't mention that they have a dick. They actually play up the princess character. They read the story well. I'm asking, like, is that egregious to us where we're like, what the fuck is going on here?
No, I don't think that's egregious at all. But it's just having drag queens read a story without all that.
No, I get it. But
if they change it up, that makes more sense to me.
And keep in mind, I'm not saying that this is the case.
Diversity.
I'm not saying this is the case across the board. I'm just saying, like, if you think about acting, like, let's go back to the men in dresses and shit. Like, part of acting is playing someone that is outside of your comfort level and outside of your wheelhouse. You don't just get to play yourself every time. Like Jeffrey Tambor played a trans person on that show. What is it? Whatever the fuck.
Transparent.
Thank you. Yeah. He's not
a great title.
Oh my god, that's called transparent because they're
he's a transparent.
You knew that.
No, I did not.
Are you serious?
I did not.
Wow.
I did not.
You
Nice.
knew that.
It's a good double entendre, huh?
I did not.
Don't you wish you're the guy in the writer's room?
But you see, my point is like,
We're going to call it transparent.
Yeah,
Drops his pencil.
My point is, like, if you were to hire, let's go back to your daughter. You hire a princess to come to your daughter's birthday party. A gay dude shows up. You know what I mean? You're like, what the fuck? But then he gets into makeup and he gets in the dress and he plays the part well. Like,
Yeah, I think it depends on the level of
I understand.
professionalism.
I understand. Yeah. He's got his cock hanging out.
I would
between his
love
legs.
to be vlogging Simon when that happened to him. The guy shows up on a Harley Davidson.
And I think they should warn you in advance.
Sure.
I don't think that's beyond.
That
No,
seems
I'm not.
weird.
I'm
That
not
seems
disagreeing
weird.
with you there, Simon. What I'm saying though is my point was just: are the kids?
Like when you get a masseuse, like would you like a male princess or a female princess?
My point is this:
exactly.
if there's 10 kids at the party and they all enjoy it and they think nothing of it, they're like, the princess read the book to us, and one of them goes home and is like, this princess came and read a book, and the dad's like, yeah, that's fine, and then he finds out a week later, like, oh yeah, no, we had this drag queen, like. You know, all of a sudden it changes the dynamic. And the kid, and if you think about it, Kamar, the father could be like, that was a dude dressed up like a woman. And then the kid, I don't know.
It could backfire. But
Anyways,
You just said I was going to push back. I will push back a bit. If I'm with Simon, I don't understand it.
I just don't understand why you would do it in the first place.
This is where I'm at. I don't, it's like the first person to find milk from a cow. Like, how did you get there?
so
Give me the
children aren't
backstory.
afraid of drag queens.
Do you have farmers come in to run your libraries? Like, no, you know what I mean? It
Kamar,
just,
what adult, like, how many adults are afraid of drag queens, though? Like, is this what we're afraid of? That we're raising, like, we're so concerned that we're raising a society that's afraid of drag queens? How is this even an issue?
I think it's maybe feels outside, up to grade 6 curriculum.
it just needs to make sense. If you have a story hour and you want to have an author come and be part of that story, these two things don't equate at all.
What if that author's trans?
Well, fine then. That's fine. You know what I mean?
And so, as a conservative, Christopher believes that the extreme left, whatever the worst thing on the extreme right is, the extreme left wants to destroy the idea of families and the family unit and wants to take away their children from their parents into the state, into the schools. That's what his fear is.
It's so weird because you would have thought that was like a conservative view. You know what I mean?
To abolish the family.
I don't know. No, I guess not. Yeah.
It's the most conservative of it. Conservative, to me, means traditional.
Right. Yeah.
But traditional is now, colonializers or whatever. Like that word is fucked up, like freedom.
No, traditional is a better word though.
It should be, but it shouldn't have a negative connotation.
Just means the way we used to do things, right? That's what traditional is.
Or you can't say the word normal. Believe in God, get
You
married.
can say, first
raise
of
some
all,
kids.
you buy into this shit. You can say whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah, I know.
We've done the show for 5 years. We've never been canceled.
I'm
We've-
playing a character on a podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Who
Breaking
wears
down the wall.
fucking nail polish?
But Cat
Don't get involved, man.
Williams mentioned that as well.
What? Your nail polish?
No, getting rid of the family. The Smurfs. I see that we need immigrants because we need people, but we also need people who are going to have kids. Because we don't have kids like a country that is healthy would hope.
It's just weird. Like, he plays this family values guy who spent his life fucking around and not trying to start a family.
Yeah. Regretfully, unless I start a family. But do you know what I mean?
No, listen.
Why do we stop having families or
Who did, though? Like, how many out of all your friends?
Canadians?
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but out of all your friends, how many people have kids? How many families?
Maybe 50%.
Okay.
Is this just another byproduct though of like before you used to do it because that's what you were supposed to do, but now because the kids are fighting against everything, this is just like I'm not going to have babies because that's what the establishment wants me to do, and I just want to go out and have fun forever. You know?
Another one, powerful one is, well, the world's fucked. Why would I have a kid?
Right, which is an insane cop out. Like,
Well, that's always been so, and every generation proves them wrong.
and if everybody says that now, then the world just ends and there's no more people. Is that what you want?
But that's what he's saying.
What if the earth gets
far
better?
left wants, which I would push back at that. You know, do whatever you want, read books, but
you see, here's the problem.
can't try to destroy traditional
See,
values.
you're missing a big part of it, though, is like, you brought it up. Like, if there's enough people immigrating here and they're having kids, and we know they are, then there's no problem. America continues, so does Canada. Your problem is that you want, not you, but they want white traditional. Because keep in mind, if Canada in 100 years was full of Indian people,
there could be some racism
then Canada
there.
continues on, and who gives a shit?
But I think it's also, it doesn't matter. It's their status economically is really the immigrants you want. You want rich immigrants, not refugees.
Well, you know,
on the range of
you
you take all.
Actually, that's you need a mix of both, because you need people to do the jobs that you don't necessarily want to do.
But you need people who are immediately contributing to society versus using society to get a leg up, which we do. I'm not saying to stop any of that.
But hold on, you can't.
You're saying, but you said I just want white immigrants.
Not you. I meant that when conservatives talk about, you mentioned tradition, and you talked about the family. Like I said, like Mexican people that are coming across the border, I guarantee you a lot of them are going to have huge families, and they're going to be tight fucking knit. Yeah. That's not what they're talking about.
But
they
are
don't
they
want
going to give a fuck about Canada?
They can't be a guest.
First of all, this is the weird thing. If you talk to a Mexican American, like a first generation, like their parents immigrated there, they're probably the most fucking patriotic people you will meet, like across the board. Same thing. I mentioned it before. Indians who have been here for like 10 years, like from India, they're some of the most, like on Canada Day, they're fucking decked out in Canada flags. Not
all of them.
No, some of them are like Sharia laws coming once we get enough
but
people.
That's going to be the same with everybody. There's going to be some people who get behind the place they go, and some people are going to retain the values of the place they came from.
Of course, but back to what Kamar was saying, the idea of immigration is that you're coming to get a leg up. That's the idea. Not necessarily that you're coming to suckle off the teat.
I suppose. I mean, immigrating downwards is sort of weird.
Yeah.
Like me trying to
nobody
get
does
into
that.
El Salvador for a better life.
But Simon, you say no one does that, but in a way people do. Like there are rich people that will go to Andrew Tate moving to Romania. You would think that is a downsize, right? Like America's the greatest country on earth.
Well, I think that's because he had to operate his
pornography thing. My point though is like people do move to rich people will immigrate to a quote unquote lesser country.
Rich-igration.
Yeah, but they still live luxurious lifestyles, you know?
I understand. My point though is if you have enough money, you will move to a lesser place because you get tax benefits or whatever, where you can buy more land or whatever the fuck it is.
I just don't think you do. If your country is war-torn, then you go anywhere that the people aren't fighting, whether it was better than your place or worse than your place. But for the most part, if you're deciding to leave, you're trying to get somewhere better.
Yeah.
I think of them all as getting off an old steamboat with a suitcase and a pea hat.
Isn't that how it is?
No, well, it's all. They come on planes, trains, automobiles.
I mean, listen, I realize that there's obviously some shady fucking people getting through that border. 30,000 people a day or 300,000 people a week. Whatever the number is too many people for there not to be some shitty people getting across. But like, when you watch that Andrew Callahan thing and that guy from Sudan was like, I had to take this plane to here and then this plane to here. And then I walked through this country and then I took a plane to here. And then I drove for 15 hours. And then I walked through this country. Like, don't you kind of want that guy in your country? Like someone who's willing to walk through 15 other countries. Like, do you think that guy's going to show up here and just suckle off welfare? Or do you think he's going to try to get a job and better his life?
Do you think if that guy commits a crime, he should just be immediately deported?
Yeah,
that's what I think too. But they don't. That's what it just. It's super complicated. He didn't really talk about that, but that is something people do talk about. Youth's relationship to the internet. We talk about it, how we are 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Yeah.
But now those people are
both feet in.
Both, but been both feet in. Like the person that was born just knows. When I was talking to my 50-year-old nephew, I tried to mimic doing the chat, and he thought I was making fun of him.
Yeah, of course.
And I thought that was connecting, but it's another world now. So much harder to have a finger of the pulse on than when there was limited social media and superstars. And
I was legitimately couldn't imagine being a kid right now.
with all the options out there, to just veg out on.
And just, the constant entertainment being pumped into my head. Like, I would get nothing done as a kid. I got nothing done as a kid as it was, but at least I was out there like grinding, you know what I mean? I needed to get weed. I needed to like
tactile.
We were out there doing things they might not have been the best things.
No, but that's where I was going to disagree with you. Like,
But we
I
were
think
doing
doing
them.
all that stuff was wildly important.
Yeah, I agree
Wildly
too.
important.
Listen, going out and finding weed and having to go talk to strangers and do that's what made me into a person today. You can't get that online. You don't get that from going from chat room to chat room or playing video game to video game, you know?
Dude, walking and skateboarding around the street, smoking weed for like 7-8 hours a day. Yeah, that like made me who I am. Not to say I'm an incredible person, but I can speak. I don't have anxiety when ordering from a menu at a restaurant. You know what I mean? That was one of those things when I heard that, I was like, that's fucking 40% or 60%, whatever she said. Like, that's insane.
Dude, I swear to God to you, I've gone to places where the kids can't give change.
Oh, no kids can
They
work out
don't
change.
understand cash. That is fucking nuts. Like, what are we even saying?
We had to get rid of the penny for them.
We have crossed over that, like, whatever they call that gap, that trench, you know, and we didn't even notice we crossed over it.
While talking about it.
Yeah, because we didn't. It's like you're walking and you start going down slowly, and up slowly, and you just don't even notice there's a down or an incline. You just feel like you're walking straight.
I mean, at the same time, though, Simon, we could be those people who are like, these kids don't even know how to whale anymore.
You know what? We could be, or we could be sane people pointing out insanity.
Yeah, but I'm just saying the way the world moves, like, you know, it's like I talk to a lot of parents about the, like, when do you give your kid a tablet or a cell phone sort of thing? And, like, you know, the world works on cell phones and tablets now, and, like, all business is done, like, social media is a perfect example. Like, your kid could be rich by 20 if they understand social media even slightly. And you'd be an asshole not to let them attempt, you know what I mean? To try to, I don't know, you're stifling, I don't know.
Yeah.
We're in a weird place.
I was trying to say there was a saying where you would say, if I knew what I know now when I was 20,
Yeah.
now I feel like if I knew what I knew when I was 20 now, because you just seem smarter, more absorbent and just thinking about stuff.
Sorry,
when
I
you're
don't
like
know.
Yeah,
when
what
you're
the hell are you
25,
talking
when
about?
you're 25 years old, do you feel like you have more energy now and you're quicker than when you're 25?
I mean, I don't drink anymore, so I just in general am.
You haven't changed since you were 25.
No, I'm the same person.
No,
No, of course. I don't even know what you're talking about.
the anticipation for what life holds when you're 25 years old is great. It's almost like what I don't know is, if you knew a bunch of stuff, you'd probably be more discouraged or whatever. But and those people now completely understand this technology far beyond how I just think when I was 25, I thought I was at my peak. No.
I just still don't know what you're trying to say.
The example, sorry, just so we can make this work a little bit. The example I was going to give you before was baggy pants.
Yeah.
My dad used to look at my baggy pants. We used to wear the hugest, stupidest pants so low. And he used to be like, that's stupid. And I'd be like, you just don't get it. And now I'm a little bit older and I wore those pants and I can see they were stupid. And now I see the kids wear, like, it's like, don't make the same mistakes we made. We can see that now. That doesn't make us crazy. That doesn't make us haters. That makes us able to have lived through something, and like that's what you want.
Yeah, but it's a weird thing to be like, listen, I mean, I understand where you're at when I can't wear super baggy jeans at all anymore. I'm like, this is ridiculous. But that doesn't mean that the kids don't look at it as cool now. Like I still
Did
don't.
you know that?
That's a weird
Baggy's
analogy.
back?
Yeah, of course it's back.
No, okay, yes. I just it doesn't mean it doesn't look ridiculous. And I can say that having lived that fad, you know?
Yeah, I know, but there's all okay. Yeah, I mean, we're
think
never gonna meet in the middle. Here.
Everything works in a big city.
What does that mean?
Well, thanks for derailing this conversation. What an asshole.
Well, no, like in a city like Ottawa, there's people dressed like that guy's just like an asshole. But move them to Toronto or someplace, like they just fit in. They're part of the whole motif.
Yes, you can get away with more in a big city, of course. If you go to
Style's
Almont,
better.
yeah,
If you start dressing like a girl in your little fucking hick town, no, it's
Yeah.
probably not going to go well.
My
for you.
nails, I'll agree with you. Too
they
big
don't
for
fly in
Ottawa.
Cornwall.
Too big for Ottawa. Too big for Ottawa.
Yeah.
Do you think there should be a large role for teachers outside the curriculum? We can't really answer that because we don't have kids again.
Simon has 2 kids.
Again, can you? I just don't even understand what the question was.
Well, they have to teach them about, will just be simple science, English, math, geography,
They should only teach them what's in the curriculum.
and
I think
what.
that's so stupid.
The curriculum. Okay.
But what outside of the curriculum? What they should be doing, like about sexuality or like.
No, I'm just saying, like, what you're asking for is an incredibly rigid thing that I don't think you want for your kids or anyone's kids. You want the best teacher you had was a cool teacher that talked outside of the curriculum. I'm not saying about let's remove sex. I'm just saying
So, unfortunately, by opening the door for the cool teacher who's going to teach your kids about the Younger Dryas theory, you're also going to get a lot of teachers who are agendizing. So I think you still have to have a curriculum. That's not to say, Matt, that our curriculums don't need a massive overhaul.
And I think it's just in like again to grade 6.
even right now, Kumar,
That period should be very.
Sure, I can agree with that.
And then 7 and 8, you start to get
A little more open-minded.
loosey goosey.
Yeah, sure.
And you're still young.
Sure.
I mean,
That's what
listen,
I think.
sex ed, like as someone who took sex ed, didn't even work. So I don't know. I actually sitting here right now can tell you I don't even see the point in it.
But wait, you need sex ed though, because don't you think it's important that you learn about the human body?
No, it's important for everyone to be uncomfortable.
You
for
don't
3
think it's
hours.
important that you know, like, that a woman has ovaries and shit, how reproduction works? Like, all that stuff is important. It's important knowledge to have as a human being. That you know
41
how
years
to
old.
reproduce.
I'm 41 years old. I still don't know how it works. I know that if I put my dick in there,
That's
Well,
not true. You do know.
Well,
how it
and
works.
again,
That's
this changes
ridiculous.
again with the internet. Like so there's a video the parents can sit down with their kid at home, watch, and they get to have that experience of. The teachers don't have to do that. Like we said, teachers should have been teaching about girls are going to lie to you. You're going to get your heart broken. Don't sweat it.
even then, though,
save your money.
What you're saying too is like you know, just saying across the board, leave it up to the parents is equally as dangerous, unfortunately.
Equally.
Yeah.
So it just has to have a magic place. I just think
Well, Kumar, like, with the
parents
place-
be accountable than teachers.
Yeah, I'm not saying, listen, all I'm saying is it's very simple. There are a lot of people who live with rigid fucking parents who will absolutely not allow them to learn about anything or know anything. And those people are going to grow up in a different world than you and I. See, you grew up in a world where you were going to find out about all that shit one way or another. You have very open parents. You grew up in an open place. There are people that don't grow up there. And that if they don't have someone in their life who's going to be like, hey, man, it's cool to feel the way you feel, then yeah.
When you were in school, did you have to say the Lord's Prayer
No.
before every class?
Fuck no.
We did.
That's insane.
It is.
At
It is
what
insane.
school did you say the Lord's Prayer?
Much more.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, what is the Lord's Prayer? Maybe I did have to say it.
Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
Fuck no.
Thy kingdom come,
come.
thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. How do I know that?
How do you know
Give
that?
us our day, our daily bread, and do not trespass.
Did you go to much
Forgive
more?
us our trespasses.
I think I had to say those
yes,
too.
You had
No.
to say yes.
Well, I went to Hopewell. We didn't.
Okay.
Well,
that-
you're much younger, or much, yeah. You're
younger enough, I guess. I'm
5 years younger than
I'm
you,
sure I
asshole.
could tell you there's a time when that was booted out because that was offensive
Yeah.
to other students.
Yeah, I
Or
don't know
or
how I
something,
know
but
that.
It was
No, it's because
every
there's this-
morning. And that was like, again, like Joe says, or people say, kids like routines. That felt a good thing in the morning, just going through that little routine, not knowing what I was saying or thinking about the implications of indoctrination or something. I don't
That's
know.
crazy.
But even then, that didn't indoctrinate you. You didn't end up Christian. You just know the fucking hymn.
Yeah.
Just know the Lord's Prayer.
That's all I'm saying.
No, but why do I know that? And it just, oh yeah, I used to say that every fucking day.
Yeah.
That was it. Like, I should know about it. It's
We
not
said that, and then they would sing the national anthem.
Yeah,
But you probably wouldn't know the national
Yeah.
anthem if they hadn't played it every day either.
Start a morning.
That all
man.
sounds about right.
Either way.
Both this episode and the Riley Gaines, they gave huge flowers to Elon for saving the world in a
Oh my God,
godlike
I've had enough
move.
of this. I've had enough of this.
Riley actually calls it X. Conservatives are respecting the X.
I'm not going to
And
listen.
liberals will call it Twitter. I'm not calling it X. Everyone knows it's Twitter. And that's how you know.
No, Joe calls it Twitter. Joe refused to call it X.
Yeah, Joe's a lefty.
Listen, no, he isn't. He's
I
centered.
really think
He's not a lefty. Don't
No,
you can't.
but he-
Now he leans more right than left.
Get the fuck out of here.
right-leaning lefty.
Okay, sure. We're all in the middle, leaning one way or another, right?
But he does say Twitter, fuck X. But
I'm not
all
gonna-
the conservatives call it X.
I'm not going to listen to anyone else sit here and say that Elon Musk is a fucking free speech advocate. Get the fuck out of here.
Okay, we'll get through that.
I don't know what to make of it anymore. On one hand, I'm like, yeah, it is good that this guy who claims to be for the people bought this thing that was like out there against the people, right? It was changing our elections. It was doing all sorts of nefarious shit. But I'm just not sure Elon is the guy everybody thinks he is. So I guess only time will tell on that. And then if it turns out that he's this like maniacal megalomaniac who wants to take over the world, and this was the same way that Ted Turner bought whatever, and this guy bought whatever, and who's the guy who
Listen, when
boycotted weed?
When Jeff Bezos bought fucking Washington Post, I have a feeling that every fucking right-wing asshole out there was like, this is a fucking travesty. Then when Elon goes out and buys Twitter, it's like, oh, he cares so much about free speech. Motherfucker, no, he doesn't. He had the biggest Twitter account in the world.
He cares about his speech.
Yeah.
I think Twitter's different from a newspaper, but it's just
Oh my God,
media.
it is so not. It's just another way to get ideas out there. It's the exact same thing.
Yeah, I suppose. But Twitter does have a news section.
I just listen. I remain hopeful. I hope
And
Elon
they
is
both
the
use
fucking.
each other.
You
A Washington
heard-
Post article will put a tweet.
You,
in it.
Of course.
And
Of course.
you heard both Brittany
Twitter will-
Grimer and or whatever her name is, Brittany,
Riley Gaines. Put some respect on her name.
Riley Gaines
I'm
and,
finna teach you how to
and
say
Joe
her name.
Rogan both said we get our news now from Twitter. Yeah. So
Youth's relationship with the
no, I'm just saying
Internet.
it is a news outlet. It's both. It's a news outlet and a YouTube, well, which is also a news outlet.
it's
A lot of the news you're getting is just people fucking.
the little trench is
Yeah.
getting
Yeah.
bigger.
Yeah, yeah.
and bigger,
Yeah, for
and
sure.
bigger as you notice. One of my favorite parts was they started talking about canceling, and you know
Sorry, just before you go on, I just want to talk about Elon for one more second,
Of course,
okay?
of course.
Because this is the part that really aggravates me with Joe. Here's this guy who's like, the idea of making electric cars is crazy. We don't have the infrastructure to support it. We're getting all these illicit minerals and taking advantage of people. He rages against it all the time, but then pumps Elon up for being this like, do you really think that Elon made Tesla because he wanted to make sure that the world was going to be a cleaner place? Do you think that was his end goal in making Tesla? Or was it to make a car company to make money?
I would say he said the angle of being environmentally friendly would be a good way to sell a car.
To make money.
To make money.
Yeah.
No. And I don't know. Like, do you think Steve Jobs is impressive or just like...
I think Steve Jobs is really impressive.
So in the same way, Elon, I think is
How
impressive.
so?
Well, I think if he was in charge of Apple when Apple revolutionized home computing, then
But Wozniak was really like all the brain behind the stuff.
But they had a failing business that had to be bailed out by Ross Perot. So I'm just curious. That's always my interest. I always find that interesting about Apple. I'm not saying. Listen,
I didn't know that. They had to be bailed out by Ross Perot?
Yeah.
Well, Elon had to be bailed out by the American government. So. No, I'm serious.
Yeah,
to
yeah.
the tune of like $4 billion.
Yeah.
But Steve Jobs started Apple, which is the biggest company in the world.
Yeah,
And, like,
now it
his-
is.
You
Yeah.
see, he was more an advertising guy to me.
And so is Elon. But
And so is Elon. Okay, sure.
Steve Jobs is a master of business. Okay, he's a piece of I saw an interview the other day. This guy had a company, and he had a deal with Apple. Apple was going to buy his company for $500 million. They had a handshake, like everything is ready to go except the signatures. And the guy shows up at the meeting to sign. Again, they have an agreement. And Steve Jobs looks down and he goes, "What are we paying for this piece of shit company?" And he goes, $500 million. And he goes, "No, we're not." And the guy was like, "Yeah, Steve, we are. We have a deal. Like, this is what this contract is. We're making the deal. You've agreed to the deal." And he goes, "No, we're definitely not signing this fucking deal. We're not giving you that much money." He goes, "We'll give you half of that." And the guy's like, "Steve, I'm not taking that." And he goes, "You're going to take it because tomorrow you're not going to be on the fucking Apple store." And the guy was like, "Yep, 250 sounds like a fucking sweet deal."
And so that's brutal, shrewd business.
It's cutthroat business. Yeah. And again, he was the type of dude to go into a room full of really smart people and be like, "This is what I want from this fucking thing. You have 6 months, make it happen in 4.
So you don't think he's impressive? He's impressive in some facets of
You
business.
know what would have been impressive?
To beat cancer?
Yeah, using the common cures that are available. He would be alive right now and your iPhone would be fucking incredible. Instead, I'm left with this piece of fucking shit.
I never thought that Steve Jobs was like the brains behind building the iPhone. Do you know what I'm saying? He's a vision guy. He's not a coding guy, is he? I didn't even know he was a.
I assume he's pretty smart.
I dare
assume he
say
has to
he's
have-
like a Rick Rubin.
He's just the energy guy in the room.
Like a
Yeah.
Rick
Yeah,
Rubin.
Take that
yeah.
away.
Yeah.
Anywho, yeah, that kind of bugs me about Joe. The blind spot he has for Elon is like
If you can be
the
impressed by
size of
somebody,
the fucking earth.
he's impressed by Elon.
He's impressed by Elon.
That's what it is.
Because when you were gone, I was talking about how Joe rails against the ideas of electric cars.
Yeah.
It's a terrible idea. We need the gas powered cars. Our infrastructure can't support. We use minerals, all these things. And then he drives one and he fucking toots Elon's electric horn all the time. Anyways. Yeah, exactly. But it's with a button.
Then he brought up Andrew Tate and tried to distance himself from him, but used him as an example of someone who gets canceled. And then they fell to Milo, and then they went down this rabbit hole where Joe goes, "Oh wait, he got canceled for something he said on my show." at the very end, I was hoping for more from Simon from that. Yeah, just held that in the can too long. Milo sunk himself on Joe's show, but he went through this whole thing. Oh wait a second, it was when he did it on my show. That's when they got him.
I mean, I think that ship was sinking.
But what they said is, if that happened today, it probably it would be enough to cancel someone. Maybe, who knows? Then they mentioned the humpback whale.
Oh,
Gay
humpback
sex.
Gale. I like that.
He calls her Gail, so it's
I mean, listen, we know that there's homosexuality in all sorts of animal groups. It happens in gorillas. It happens in a lot of groups
Spartans.
where one male gets to have all the sex. The other males are still super horny and they're not allowed to fuck the females because they're under the harem of the male. It happens in monkeys all the time, gorillas, wolves, whatever the fuck. These loner males go out and they just blast each other. They want to get off. They don't have a choice.
It's one thing having gay sex, but having desperation gay sex, that's got to be just like, that's a...
dying sick whale, unless that's his last wish.
No, but the gorillas do that, and those are the closest to like the human, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that happens all the time. They go out and then they'll sneak back in every once in a while to try and like fuck a couple of girls while the boss isn't looking. But most of the time they're just living in their
Spartan way.
gay renegade troops.
Gay renegade troops. That's it, Kamar?
His background
let's
is
be done.
he thought he was a total lefty. Went to Georgetown University, thought they were nuts, and has become this, mini Ben Shapiro. I'm not mad at this guy.
It wasn't mad at me either. I just didn't care about it.
I give it a 2.
Like the problem with Joe's show is it felt like it used to be like, I'm going to have different people on of all, I don't care about your opinions. Just like it felt more varied. Like even if like, for example, he would have an anthropologist on and they would just talk about anthropology. He would never bring up COVID or his opinions on like trans athletes or anything. And it seems like now it's just kind of this like I assume Charlie Kirk's going to be on next week and fucking, Crowder and like they're ringing the same horn. And I get it. In Joe's defense, he thinks he's fighting the good fight and he has the platform to do it. I get it. But as our job is to listen to all this, it's redundant.
Well, mostly again, I don't need the listen to the fight being fought.
Yeah.
But
I'm here to listen to things to take my mind off of all these fights that are being fought.
He will lift up voices if he agrees with them. Or agrees that they're being persecuted.
Joe.
Yeah.
Well, that's the problem, though,
Like
too.
cancelizations.
No, but you just brought up a good point. Even when he has someone on that he disagrees with, it's no longer like a civil conversation. It's him like fighting them tooth and nail and almost never seeing any middle ground. Like he's just like, no, because I had this guy on last week who said this. And like, I don't know. I give this one, the week sucked, so I give it a 2.
I find more and more as I listen to other podcasts, I see the flaws in Joe's. And look, nothing's perfect. You know what I mean? But that's...
I mean, listen, Joe has the best podcast. The numbers say it. The customer's always right.
Oh, like you want to know perfect example? So Joe has RFK on.
Yeah.
Great discussion. I thought they had a good discussion. I learned a lot. I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
Andrew Schulz has RFK on and asks a question that I was like, how does Joe not ask? You know what I mean? And you're just like, weird. They asked about the Ghislaine and he had been on multiple flights with Epstein. And the story he tells is incredible, dude, about like how he got this shitty feeling and they went to do like this archaeological expedition with the kids and he just sat in the car the whole time and then said, oh, I'm going to Europe. And they drove to another plane and there was like a hot chick there and Ghislaine was crying on the plane because she didn't get to go. It was all so
But he's
interesting.
talking like this the whole time. He's just... I still gonna listen.
Anyways, you know what I mean? Like Joe has like a mini agenda of things he's trying to get to.
Anyone who makes millions of dollars has a mini agenda.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, Mike Baker's got his points for the week that he's got to...
Anyhow. Let's move on. Next.
Long time overdue, 2016, Kevin James. Did you watch The King of Queens?
Yes.
Did you watch The King of Queens?
Not really.
Only
no.
because it was on in syndication all the time. Like it would be on 3 times a day. It
was on a lot, yeah.
TN or whatever it was. It doesn't matter. Who cares?
It's just worked, but I feel like this was some sort of meta thing because Just for Laughs. I don't know if you guys heard. Went bankrupt.
No way.
And I swear to God, I celebrated.
Just for Laughs went under, so there's going to be no more Just for Laughs.
File for
festival?
protection. Oh, there's none this year.
Wow, that's crazy.
It's not that crazy.
I think that's crazy.
It's not that crazy.
That was a huge comedy festival.
It was, but with streaming and Netflix now and like the TV deals drawing up, it just didn't.
But don't you feel like it just avoided like growth? Like it rested on its laurels.
Yeah, got
on
too
a sub-
comfortable.
and-
Yeah, we're just the
and-
biggest
and
show in
at
town.
a time when it was a huge festival, had the opportunity to make strong decisions and do stuff, but they didn't do it.
Well, I don't know what the strong decisions they didn't make were because I saw some great people at Just for Laughs. You know what I mean?
Well, getting into the streaming thing, starting YouTube sooner. I don't know what that may be.
I mean, if you think about it, what Kamar's saying makes sense. Like, Just for Laughs for the last 10 years should have had a streaming show on Netflix or Prime or something where they, I mean, I guess
They rested on their laurels.
They should have had a podcast where they were constantly having a new comedian on every week or something.
something. I mean, listen, the brand alone was so
should have
strong
done,
that they could have done Just for like, and they started in a way, but like,
They should have done a reality show competition.
well, that too, but you should have just traveled more. Just for Laughs could have been,
Could have grown around the world.
yeah,
One of their biggest money makers is Just for Laughs gags.
Ugh, the worst.
terrible.
Exactly.
The worst.
And what they said was that during the pandemic, they didn't fire anyone. And so that was just 2 years, basically, of no
Siphoning money.
income, and it just went douche. And then when it got to this year, they're like, we can't do it. And the guy who judges for the 8 Canadians who get to go to the Just for Laughs Festival in Canada, of the hundreds of comics that are there, he was showcasing comics. I was with a guy last week who was all excited because he had done a showcase for him.
And that guy's just sitting
Or
there
just for
knowing
laughs.
he's like, no one's getting the
And then
fucking job.
it gets bankrupted. I was like, well, they can't reject me this year. I was playing the Pointer Sisters.
Guess they can't reject me now.
Yeah, I mean, and it will come back, and the phoenix will rise from the ashes. But fuck all those people. Like that's what should happen in places.
Well, no, because now it's like, if like I know for a fact that I think it's May 2nd to the 12th. It's Netflix is a joke in LA, and it's fucking huge.
It's a big thing.
It's fucking huge. Because I'm in Vegas at the time, and I was like, fuck, do I just drive to LA to see one of these shows? Because, dude, the lineup is fucking nuts. It's crazy.
But will it be good?
Yes, I assume. It will.
Yeah, it'd be more the whole experience thing.
Yeah.
Than,
I mean, listen, anytime I went to Just for Laughs, the experience was great. I saw so many good comedians. When I lived in Montreal, I went to so many Just for Laughs show that year. It was nuts. My mom drove down.
That's what I'm saying.
Saw John Panette.
They were great. I saw really good shows
Yeah.
there.
Well, I guess what they had to do was lay a bunch of people off for 2 years, then hire people back up just to cut costs,
anyways.
or have put themselves in a better position from the get-go. But it was good news to me. So many comedians are like crying on the internet and stuff. Like, you were never going to get picked anyway, so I don't know what you're bitching about. But I think Kevin James is one of those comics that got discovered back when they're giving crazy deals.
Yeah.
They got King of Queens.
Yeah.
They got a bunch of success. They got sort of estranged from stand-up who, they always talk about. And he felt like he was not admitting he's done something wrong, but that's where I'm at. He's been doing the same act in Vegas, like at night after night after night. And I've been writing. How do you write? And they started at the exact same time, and he's so successful. I mean, you've got to imagine the movies.
How much do you think Kevin James is
How
worth?
much do you think Kevin James is worth?
40 million.
Oh,
It's gotta be more than that,
250 million.
I was going to say like probably 300 million.
And we're going
you
to find
guys are
out it's
crazy.
$5 million. A modest guy drives a Subaru.
No, I think 40 is a good number. Nice and round. 200. You guys are fucking nuts. Where's he getting 200 million?
I don't know.
Off reruns of King of Queens or Paul Blart Mall Cop? Oh, Jamie, you're taking forever here. This is way too long.
100 million.
Somewhere in between.
I mean, 100 seems good for him, man.
And he can't, and he still, with all his money, struggles with his body.
Well, what does that mean?
Well, he said the whole reason he was on here is he's a documentary saying cheat day.
Yeah.
Because he thought he could one day a week eat. He's like, people don't understand how I eat. Like, this guy can crush stuff, but he wants to be Joe Rogan.
Yeah, I just don't understand. Get a personal trainer.
I know. Well, this is what the documentary is going to be. And he can't afford it. And it's still a challenge, like you said. Corporate gigs. They're talking about corporate gigs. And I was talking to someone else. You throw the crazy money out there because you can't lose.
Yeah.
It's better to just get paid enough and it be horrible.
Yeah.
Like, you get what you deserve, but it just being a horrible experience. So that's why those happen. And even Adam Sandler bombs at them.
Yeah.
Because it's so awkward when rich people are hiring you to just be a thing.
It's crazy when
your
Kevin
thing.
James is telling that story though, and he's like, and I'm sitting out there thinking, telling my assistant, like, we're not doing this. Tell them I'm canceling.
The
I'm
best
not
story.
interested.
He's so
you know?
nervous. And there lies, he is a hilarious guy. He's not a fluke or anything.
So, I mean, you remember Jim Jeffries had a bit about how he had to do a private gig for Mariah Carey's husband?
I don't remember it.
Oh, my God. And Leo was there. He was like, they made me take off my fucking shoes.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Oh, dude, it was so funny. Yeah, no, Kamar, listen, the problem with those corporate gigs or those private events is that 90% of the people don't know why you're there.
Yes, it's not produced.
Yeah.
It's just they'll just start their thing at this time and
Like, worst example, when I do a trivia night, people are there for trivia. They're like, I've shown up to do trivia. But if you do it at a birthday,
Just show up
you-
someplace.
but you do it at someone's private birthday party, and half the people there are like, what are you doing here?
Has that happened before?
I told you I did a private trivia the other night, and it felt like half the people there were like, "Who are you? Why are we doing trivia?"
And,
Well, probably those people don't want to play trivia.
Of course they
thought
don't.
they were going
Yeah.
to a
they're
party.
being forced
You
to
know?
have sex with
Yeah.
the Spartans. but when you have your status at your trivia nights, but you come and just, hey,
Yeah.
you guys want to
Yeah.
do some trivia?
That was
Oh,
the
yeah,
dude.
that's
I
the
felt
worst.
I was like, I'm terrible.
That's right. And Kevin James was like, I'd be nervous to perform at your club. And this just came off the wrong way. And Joe was like, Duncan kills there.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Did I hear that?
Yeah.
He said, don't worry
No,
about it.
no, because he said, I don't think my observational humor would go over well. And I guess Duncan does observational humor. He was saying, like, your
Yeah, I know.
comedy is like Duncan's. I don't think he was.
I know, but it just
bad-mouthing
sort of sounded like Duncan kills there. Right? Everyone will do fine.
I don't think Kevin James understands too. Like, I assume they just celebrated 1 year. I assume the energy in there. Like, I assume no one bombs.
No, I've heard Shane Gillis say he bombed.
Okay, but I think
Maybe
that's
it's,
him.
we might be
I think
drunk.
that's him feeling like he bombed, but in reality, like,
Well, what I said, because I did 3 shows last night,
yeah,
and there's a feeling you get when you get off the stage, like I want to hang out and shake people's hands. And there's a feeling you get when you're like, I don't want to see these people, and that just is the feeling. Whether you, objectively, like I could have told that joke better or whatever, what you think is bombing, and I think that's what bombing is.
yeah. You feel like you don't want to get laid.
You just you don't feel proud of it.
I'm not worth the pussy
It
tonight.
didn't go, but Kevin was brutally honest about how he's just like
Yeah,
rested on his laurels, and then was asking Joe how to do comedy, much in the same vein as Tom Green was doing.
yeah.
So you write stuff. Yeah, I got to do more of that. It was almost like he was having an intervention for himself. I thought it was adorable.
The weird thing to me though is like they all like it's weird even asking because everyone has their own process.
And that's what they talked about a lot in
Yeah.
this podcast.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like no one.
Amongst the fighting stuff.
Yeah, like if you could sit here and explain to me your process, doesn't mean it's going to work for me at all.
I think it's when you talk about that sort of stuff, it's tidbits. Like, oh, I never thought about doing that.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, you
listening
might
back
take
something
one-
and changing a word just as a even trying to. It's like plagiarizing a joke. Changing one word makes it a brand new joke.
Yeah.
You've rewritten it.
Yeah.
Even though
I wrote 4 jokes this week.
everything- I swear to God, it feels that way when you got to concentrate on it. Yeah, so that was very interesting for comedians. I guess Joe's advice, he said, was, quote of the week, is be the person you are pretending to be and carry yourself like a documentary crew is following you around. Maybe that's what Joe's done his whole life.
Well, a documentary crew has kind of been following him around.
Brian
It's called Brian
Redband.
Redband. Yeah.
But the idea is every shot you want to be seen as a wicked guy. And if you don't do the best that one day, cut, shoot.
I mean, I like
Start rolling again.
It's funny because I love it and I hate the analogy at the same time. Like I hate it. Like you should just it because what he's saying is it's kind of like be a good person. Like just pretend you're a good person. Like instead of just being like be a good person, it's like just pretend you're a good person.
And
just pretend.
Yeah, and that'll stick.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that's why I said I love it and I hate
Forms
it.
a habit. Of course, because it's pretend. The word pretend sounds like it's disingenuous.
Yeah.
Be a disingenuous good person, which
Yeah.
is a bad person.
Yeah,
Well, I think it's sound advice.
Well, they do say act like a good person.
Dress for the job you want.
They're not telling you to like act to
yeah.
pretend. They're telling you to act like you are a good person and be a good person.
And I think that's great advice.
Yeah, don't act to pretend. It's a joke. Forget it. Move on.
There was some good banter about working on shows and agents, and Joe doesn't remember anything correctly when someone like Kevin James is there. He'll say, "Oh no, I was fired. Oh no, we got your super." I was like, "Oh yeah, that was then." But how could you remember everything? It was just a great get together altogether. They talked about Richard Lewis, and have you seen him?
He's dead.
But he He died, and an episode aired with him on it,
Well, yeah, they're still airing the last season of Curb.
and he looks dead.
Well, yeah, and he says to Larry, "I'm going to leave you everything in my
Yeah.
will to show you what a good, because you're my best friend." And Larry says, "Please don't." He said, "I'm rich. I don't need your money. Don't give it to me." He's like, "It's done. It's already done."
But he's just doing it because then Larry will feel indebted to give to him.
Yeah.
And Larry would have won that, as we found out. But in the shows, they're showing him he looks horrible.
Well,
does
he had
look-
Parkinson's.
Oh, man.
So
Are you
it
sure?
was- yes.
Okay.
So it was, or he had some disease.
But even then, what Kamar's saying is like, if you go back 5 seasons ago, he still didn't look great.
He looked...
And he's
no,
had
he-
a lot of plastic surgery
Yeah.
too. So combined,
I know, he
those
looked
two
like the
things-
Crypt Keeper this season.
He didn't
I
look
get
like
it.
the wild...
Yeah.
Was he pedantic?
But I thought he was like, wasn't he 87?
Oh, no. I mean, it's not like gone too soon.
Yeah.
It was just more cryptic.
Yeah.
How that was the plot of the show.
Yeah.
And then he dies, and then I turn on, and there he still is living till this show.
Yeah.
But he looks like he's dead.
Yeah, he had Parkinson's.
Kevin James went 41 days without eating. I feel like
that's
he's
wild.
got the Joe thing too. Like if I focus on something,
41 days, he said that?
that's what he said.
Can you go 41 days without eating?
He did
Why?
for his daughter. She has seizures, I believe he was talking about.
41
Or a tick.
days.
41 days, water and electrolytes.
Crazy.
Yeah. Imagine how miserable you'd be.
He must have lost a lot of weight, no?
He said he could lose 60 pounds in 30 days. Like he can go crazy for one thing and then he just releases. And he's got to find some sort of balance. And I feel like he was seeking that from Joe. The hang is everything too. The idea of going to do comedy shows, getting off the stage and just going, sitting in a room and waiting to go somewhere else and do it again and not like socialize with anyone is it's hell. If you think about it. Unless you're really young and that's exciting. Okay, right on. Joe tells a story where he tore his ACL just like Tony Ferguson.
Yeah.
Tripping over a
Tripping
wire.
over a wire, yeah.
And the show went on.
You know, it's funny. You always hear about athletes, like you'll see plays and you'll be like, wow, they tore their ACL on that. And I always wonder, I'm like, wonder if I ever tore my ACL like as a kid or younger and just like never, because like, you know, I definitely got hurt bad a bunch of times where like I did like not skate for 6 months or whatever, 5 months, 4, and it was always just like, I never went to a doctor. So I always wonder, like,
Did you ever play sports?
yeah, but not like on a high level.
You just played sports in
With
gym
the
class
boys,
and
yeah,
with the
yeah.
boys. Yeah, but
Look at my body. No coach ever looked at me and was like,
I
you know
know,
what
man,
you
if you did that, you probably couldn't be able to run.
Yeah, I'm telling you, there was times where like,
And then they're saying you got to get it done, fix it, or else it just.
yeah, that I probably never fucked my ACL. But you know what I mean? I wonder how many injuries you've had that were like, that had a name, but you just never got it looked at.
I would love to, because sometimes you can remember times you got hit in the head. I mean, obviously you can't remember it, but you have one incident. But there's just, I remember once when I was driving home with my mom and getting out of a car and whacking my head off a sidewalk. Just as a significant, like,
Dude,
bad crack.
I smashed. No, there's only one left, and I was going to ask for it. I'm kidding. Give it to Kumar. My 16th birthday, we went swimming at my buddy lived at like a condo that had like a shared indoor pool. And we were beating the shit out of each other with those fucking pool noodles. And I was running around the outside of the pool and I slipped. And I mean like ass over tea kettle. Dude, I don't remember any of the rest of the night.
That was your first concussion.
I was so, dude, no, that was.
Or your
no,
first coma, rather.
No, the coma was
Oh,
way
the
before
coma
that.
was first.
Dude, my mom thought I was drunk. Like, that's how concussed I was. And no one told them. So I went home and fell asleep. Could have died. But, like, dude, I was so fucked.
A couple of those in a lifetime have some impact.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh.
it's damage is done.
Yeah, too late. Yeah.
It's like coming to terms that you were fucked up because your
I'm half a
mom
retard.
didn't make spaghetti or something.
I've had some real injuries, so
Head
I don't
injuries?
have to make up the.
Go fuck yourself.
No, I don't mean like that.
You've had
I-
head injuries? You must.
No,
have.
not. I mean, I've hit my head
Skiing
before.
or something.
Well, I fell off that ladder.
Yeah.
You know what's funny, though, Simon? Someone sent me an article. They were like, if you've had a bad head injury, you're more likely to chase long odds when gambling and more likely to gamble.
For sure. You're like Roseanne Barr. But yeah, there's a lot of training talk as well in this.
Yeah, we didn't need any of that.
Yeah, it was not a great episode.
No,
I didn't
it was
care
not.
for it at all.
It was long overdue, and I think I always said Kevin James just doesn't want to go on because he knows he's a boring guy and he doesn't want to.
I'd
expose
like
who
to
he
talk
is.
about like what it was like working with Leah Remini. Was there always Scientology people coming around? Like there was so much interesting stuff to talk about, and then they get stuck on fucking fitness. I can't stand it anymore. That's why Joe's podcast misses out on some like important things in an interview because there's too much insertion of Joe's hobbies and lifestyle and all of that shit.
What if Joe is all out of shape and then Cheeto fingers in his interviews and didn't care about health?
He just walks into like a big buff suit every day before he comes in. Like, have you seen that Super Bowl ad with it's actually really funny with Momoa?
Yes.
And he takes out the giant arms,
That's
and he's this
hilarious.
tiny little skinny guy. Takes all these balls,
That's so funny.
plays his little fucking sitar. Yeah, it's real. It's a good commercial, but that's what Joe is.
The wig is the best. Did you see the Shane Gillis commercial? Liberty Mutual?
No,
Oh,
I didn't see it either.
where the skit is the guys rush into a situation when someone's making a bad decision on their insurance.
Is this a sketch from SNL?
Yeah, but it got cut.
Okay.
In the original commercial, they run into a room and say, there's a lamb or something. It says, lamb, what? They can save $50 a month at Liberty Mutual. They rush the room and go, oh, I'm about to get car insurance. It's an ostrich instead of a lamb, and it shoots him. And Shane's like, ostrich, what the fuck? The manager goes, he was going for a gun. And then the ostrich ends up finding cocaine underneath it. The whole thing goes crazy. Shane Gillis is really funny.
Yes, yeah. No,
I'll
I've
have to
heard
watch
heard
the
he's funny.
skit because
I ruined it.
yeah, it didn't translate.
No, you guys are laughing.
I laughed, yeah.
As much as I laugh.
But you're the funniest man in Ottawa, so how can I not laugh?
Yeah.
You headlined last night, so
Yeah. And we're going to talk all about it in the post show.
oh, I can't fucking wait. So that's it, Kamar?
Yeah, I give it a 2.
I give it a 2.
I give it less than a 2.
That's fine. You're going to give it a number? You're just going to say I give it less than 2.
1.75.
Okay, there we go. All right, well, that's an episode. If you made it this far, thank you so much. Maybe, just maybe, you're willing to go a step further. We have a Patreon if you want to support the show. You can do so for as little as $5 a month. Head over to patreon.com/JREE podcast. For that $5, you get the post shows, the show we shoot shit. You'll also get old episodes, some other stuff we did. That's really it. Thank you so much for watching or listening. Thank you for supporting the show. Thank you to our advertisers, probably BetterHelp. And that's it. We hope you have a great week. We hope you enjoy your weekend. And as usual,
Buenas noches. Keep your eyes open.